Happy Tuesday, everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thank you so very much for making us part of your day. Came in hot. My bad on the late start this morning. A couple of things I fucked up. Number one, I responded to Jen on the wrong app. She texted me about the time, and I was just stupid and messaged her back on Discord. So my bad on you guys not getting a notification. I did communicate it, just not properly. So C's get degrees has kind of always been my motto, and you, the audience, can decide whether or not that deserves. I'll take a C minus. C minus works for me. Good morning, Genevieve.
Good morning. That can be a thing. It's happened before. I mean,
Genevieve.
yes.
Thank you. That
You
can
know
be a
what I
thing.
mean?
Is that what you're saying?
No, I said this happens every. I mean, we can. I think I send you texts and Discord, so I can hit both locations to see where you see things.
Well,
So
I just thought that
we'll figure it
maybe
out.
I would try something new today and not blame you.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel
just
good.
throw.
I didn't like it. Didn't like it one
Well,
bit.
it's all right. It happens. I mean, it is what it is. I owned it. I said I just saw it. So I mean,
All
we're
right.
here now. There's
How'd
no
you feel
need.
about me falling on the sword? Did I kind of like I don't want to say chivalrous, but like knight-like with a K, saint-like, something like that. Just
Yeah,
salt of the
just
earth.
yeah. All of those things work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. I appreciate that.
I
So
have bad news that I forgot about.
what?
Our members event Wednesday night. I forgot I'm going to a concert.
Oh,
I had forgotten all about. I bought the tickets in like February. Um, and I forgot I have that concert. Probably going to the concert. Probably.
what concert is it?
Uh, can I tell you? I want to tell you, but the reason I don't want to tell you is because I'm looking up how to pronounce the name real quick, so I don't sound like an idiot first, because I am not sure how to
Valor.
pronounce the name. Uh, Noah Kahan. That is all right. That's how I said it. All right.
I I honestly haven't. I mean, I don't know who that is. So
Yeah, you
I
do. He
I
sings uh, "Season of the Sticks." That song that's about that fictional state of Vermont.
I'm maybe if
And
I heard
I
it.
had some help, which is with what's his name, Post Malone.
Okay, maybe if I heard it, then I
That's
would know.
actually,
But
yeah, that's actually crazy for you to not know that.
and
Let's,
for me, like I if I hear the song, then I would be familiar. But like sometimes just the names of it, I don't know.
all right,
So
well, let's play this right in the middle of it. All right, do you know that song?
yeah, I had to realize that you were actually wanting to play it because I
Oh
usually
yeah,
leave
you
you
can't
muted.
hear it.
But I heard it now, so yes, I am familiar with that song. Yes.
Or probably this is the most famous one.
Sticks and I saw your mom. She forgot that I existed, and it's
That's Noah Kahan. So,
Okay,
anyways,
then I do know who that is.
I
So
feel like this is called manifesting. You don't pronounce the H. No, Noah Kahan. Khan. No, it's. I looked it up. Google says Kahan. I looked it up, but this I feel like I manifested this because I bought the tickets while I was still single, and I was like, I'll definitely find somebody to go to that concert with me who likes Noah Kahan, and there we go. Boom.
got it.
Such a
Well,
boomer. Fuck you, boomer pronunciation. How's everybody picking on me this morning? It
you act like
says,
this is new.
well, it says this. I mean, you can't hear this, but hold on.
Noah Kahan.
That's what Google says. Google says, and once again,
Noah Kahan.
Noah Kahan. I don't know. Take it up with Google. That's exactly why I didn't want to tell you guys. And you play on my insecurities. Google
Well,
is lying. It's a lying
well,
whore.
I'm gonna poke fun at Swiss right now. He says it's not hip hop, not so it's not cool. Swiss, you think what's his nuts, the MAGA rapper guy
Forgiato Blow.
is cool? No, the white guy, the Canadian. Why can't I think of his name?
Oh, fuck. My mom just texted me, oh gosh, it's not Kahan. That's what, how do you say it? I'm going to say, how does Noah, let's see. All right. I've had enough of you. How does Noah, there's got to be a video.
Yeah. So
Let's see.
so
Hold
yes,
on.
Tom
I've
McDonald.
gotten cayenne like the pepper, which
Hold on. You can't hear this real quick. Let me play this.
phonetically isn't right. That one confuses me. Kahan is okay, like it looks like it's Kahan, but to add new sounds, like an accent over the A, isn't right at all. I've gotten cayenne.
So it's Khan. All right. He said it was okay. Google lied. My bad. This is why I didn't want to do this. You all picked on me.
Well, I mean,
Khan.
it could be Google could not. I mean,
Well,
you have to fact check things.
yeah, that video playing was
So,
Noah Khan. So I guess we'll take him at his word there. He probably knows. Not a
there's
lot of
that
people
one.
know that your last name is not actually pronounced Dub. It's Doob, but you don't ever correct anybody.
Well, I guess that's fair. I guess.
Jen Doob.
Yep.
That's a cute name.
Not
What do
you
you got
doxing
going?
me.
What do you have? Not you, Tuck. What do you have going on today? You gonna stay for the whole show today, or are you gonna disappear?
I've been here. I'm always here. Um, but yes, I will be here for the show. But today is Duke's birthday, so I'm gonna see him later. Um,
Duke and Dub
so
later. It's double D. No, no.
so
Never mind.
question.
Never
I do have a
mind.
question for the chat. You're just gonna leave that one? All right, sounds good idea.
Please speak. Please speak.
So I have a question for the chat. What do you get? What's the equivalent of like flowers for a dude? Like, so my birthday was a week, 2 weeks ago. And he got me flowers for my birthday. What's the flower equivalent for guys?
I already told you what it was. You didn't believe me. That's right. Dolphin's correct. An oil change. That's correct.
An oil change. So, all right.
Let's find out
So I
what.
see
Let's see.
from
Let's find out how he feels about gender roles. I think that's a good idea. Who said that? Get him some flowers.
give him some. I mean, he would probably be appreciative, to be honest.
He's just kind of cool with whatever.
And Jumar's comments are getting flagged, so it's not going through. And I said this is a new relationship, Jumar, so we're not going to go there.
What was the? Were you going to send me the comments?
I mean, I can send it, or I think someone may have. I also need a screenshot what it says.
While you're doing that, Renee, Big W Renee sent $50 over on Venmo. Said, haven't had a chance to donate for a while. Just wanted to say, hope everything is going well. Being a dad is tough. Trust me. If you ever need a neutral person to talk about anything, reach out anytime. Keep up the awesome fight. Thank you. Shamar said anal or beer. Yeah, I was close. Oh, look, I don't know
So
if being a dad is tough. It's probably is because being a parent is tough. But yeah, a lot of the stuff I'm dealing with has nothing to do with being a dad, unfortunately. Just
he did
dumb
have
people.
something on his on his dating profile that he actually likes succulents. I guess maybe look first. I don't know how to pick those out though. It's like, I mean, those don't require a lot of water, do they? Do they?
No, they don't. I'm just laughing at the men in the chat. Just
I see it.
why am I wearing women's glasses? Your mom left these at my house last night. She took them off before I sprayed her face, and I thought they looked nice on me. I apologize. Thank you, though.
So, but I'm not good with plants. If I have plants and they don't have like a drip system, they die. So,
By the way, I just want to. I don't want to. I'm not trying to be disrespectful for your mom. It was your dad's birthday, and he was filming, so this was for him. It wasn't for your mom. She's just a good sport, and I respect your mom. She seems like a lovely, faithful spouse. So just tell her I said what's up. I'm happy to ship her the glasses if you'd like.
so yeah. So I'll see him later. And he and Spawn have now met, so
Ooh.
um I can see him more often now.
or
That's exciting.
or not.
It was an I tried to I was trying to like we met with some other friends around, but then so she had first said that she didn't want it focused on her, so
Okay.
I thought she'd like other people around, but then when we had other people around, she was pissed off because it wasn't enough focused on her, so it was a little awkward. with friends, but then after we left, it got better. So
Honestly,
yeah,
I
there's
feel kind of similar. I feel like since Duke of Earl's come around, you focus less on me. Like, but you haven't really
uh,
cared about that.
I would focus less on you. What do you mean?
Hmm.
I'm not giving you enough attention,
Yeah.
or
Yep.
got it.
So, d-
I didn't realize that I gave you a bunch of attention before. I guess I apologize. I'm sorry if you feel left out.
thank you. That's all I needed. You could draw him a picture.
I can't draw for shit. Like, I'm the worst.
I think that makes it more special.
Yeah, no. I just with how I am with like my OCDness, like trying to draw things, it stresses me out because it's not if I don't draw something right, I end up getting aggravated. So
Does he partake in grass activities?
no, no. I mean, if he does, he doesn't do it around me. Or
Okay.
hasn't done it around me.
All
So
right. That was my best
I'm not
idea.
opposed. I'm not opposed. I don't care. I wouldn't care if he did. So,
What
but
is he into? Does he have hobbies?
um, I mean, he likes him and his son go fishing. Um,
Okay, I like that.
he, he's not the traditional type of sports guy like football, baseball, but he says he likes motocross type stuff. And then he
Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
me.
You,
I'm the
fishing and
hobby.
motocross.
Yep. So there's all that.
Yeah, get him some worms, I think. I think just get him some worms and some
Spicy cubes.
yeah.
Spicy cubes.
Did you say icy cubes?
Spicy cubes. Have you
The
not
hell?
seen what or do you not know what those are?
No.
If you ever scroll TikTok, there'll be like these random commercials about these different things that happen. And it's like I don't know if it's targeted at women, but it's like helps keep things spicy.
Oh,
That kind
like
of
the
spicy.
dice?
No. Like think of like blue chew type thing, but for everybody.
Adult wellness and intimacy gummies, often marketed as hot peach gummies. Infused with herbal ingredients like maca root and horny goat weed, they gained massive traction through viral storytime marketing. What are they? They're just horny goat weed. Just I don't
Yes,
know.
yeah.
I feel like giving somebody a gift to make their dick harder on their birthday could be viewed as a bit of a slight. But maybe you could have him listen to this PSA. You can do a Kegel experience. What you want to do, Lispy, is you want to pretend like you're stopping your pee. Okay, like you know how you can cut off your pee when you're peeing. Do that even when you're not peeing, and that'll strengthen the muscles there, and it'll stop you from having a quick finish. Tips from RTP. Yeah, that's a free gift, Jen. You can just play that. I can send you the recording if you'd like.
Well, he does come back and listen to these recordings. So,
Well, then that's my gift to you, Duke. Uh, stop and start.
yeah. So he listens to these. He thought yesterday's was pretty funny, about the throat coat. So yeah, he
You like
listens
that
to the
one?
beginning. He said it was funny. He
I'm
said it was
currently getting
funny.
in
So,
trouble for flirting with people's moms. So yeah, I'm supposed to
so
shut
which
up now.
moms are you flirting with?
Whoever's asked me why I was wearing women's glasses, I've flirted with
Oh,
their mom. That
got
was my
it.
bad.
I
Yeah.
mean, that is kind of rude, but
All right. Well, we could
oh,
talk about
you can.
politics then, I guess.
I guess. I mean, stop flirting with mom. I mean, the dads are going to be pissed.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
gonna get jealous. I'm here for everybody knows I'm here for the dads. Don't worry about that. I'm here for them.
exactly.
All right. Well, do your thing
Exactly.
then.
Well, all right. Well, welcome everybody. Uh, we are getting going with the show. Uh, we're on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch, and maybe Facebook. I don't know. Um, we've got a gift goal that we need to hit each day so that we can keep providing the show. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats all go towards knocking out that gift goal. Um, we need it to, this is our job. So if you want to help us out knocking the gift goal out sooner rather than later, don't put this all on Trudy. Trudy carried everybody yesterday. So if we
She sure
could,
did.
if we could take some of the heat off of Trudy, that would be awesome.
And happy birthday
So
yesterday, Trudy. On
yeah,
her birthday,
happy
she had to
birthday,
carry
Trudy.
all that weight.
I know Trudy's always a W. Um, so if you're not a paid member or subscriber wherever you're watching, you should become one because we have members only events. We might not. Or sounds like we may
Well, do
not
you
have
just
one tomorrow.
if I have to be gone, do you want to just run it tomorrow?
I think I maybe.
Okay. Well, we'll talk
Um,
about that offline.
we'll talk about it.
We'll have an answer tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll update everybody when that is, what we're gonna do. So, but if you're a paid member or subscriber, wherever you're watching, you can join us for those events. We typically do them every other Wednesday. Um, we watch movies or other things in Discord together. So it's a fun time.
Last time
hope
Jen
things go
just
well.
let us listen to her and Duke make out for like 15
You're
minutes.
so
It was
stupid.
weird.
That did
It
not
was
happen.
weird. It was a lot more like than you would expect. I was
You're
surprised.
so full of shit. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Anyway, um, so yeah, there's that. If you guys disagree with RTP and like to come up and have a conversation, you do that by sending me a message on Discord. My Discord username is Jen. It's the same as Venmo. So Jen with 2 N's, double 2 B's, the number 1. Check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. So you've got merch too on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. Yesterday's episode, I guess I could download it from Twitch, but YouTube's is still, we're waiting for that appeal to go through because we got flagged.
Sure did.
So
I had to
if you
take a
guys are going
training
to,
course for that yesterday.
yeah. So we'll see how that if that one goes through. But yeah, we caught a flag yesterday. That's why it suddenly ended. If anyone was curious. And then this joke came from Just Liz in Discord.
Okay.
What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo?
I mean, with a hippo and a Zippo. Zippo's a lighter. The Zippo's lighter.
A hippo weighs a lot. A zippo is a little lighter.
All right. That was close.
Yeah, close.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Thank you.
and then another, I think Venmo did come through. Natalie said, Natalie sent a Venmo, said, husband got a new job. Oh, there were other messages that came through yesterday.
Oh, that's
Dan.
right. Yep. Let me pull those up.
So, yeah, so Natalie yesterday also sent a Venmo that said, got a bonus. So congrats on your bonus, Natalie.
And now
Sure.
her husband got a new job on the same back to back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Look at you, Natalie.
Yep. And then Trudy said, well, now YouTube pissed me off. This is BS with $50. And then Britt said, these Groper and MAGA morons can't even find the clitoris, let alone identify a credible source via Google J. So
Did you have a hard time saying
yesterday.
that word? Were you uncomfortable saying that word?
I didn't
What
know
happened
what was
there?
gonna get flagged. I didn't know it was gonna get flagged on
Oh, okay.
TikTok, so I was trying to be cautious. I wasn't sure. So yeah.
Groypers know it's gay to find the clitoris, so you can't do it.
Well, they think it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They've-
And if you do
most of
find it,
them.
you're gay. I'm pretty sure that's the
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's that.
Did
So,
you see maybe I can find it actually while we pull it. Thank you for those. Did you by chance see the people at Andrew Tate's jail this morning, like his people? They showed up
No.
to back him up.
Were they all wearing blouses and capris?
No, unfortunately, they didn't show up in the official attire, but they did show up and do this. Let's see. This is them. They just showed up and took off their shirts and started doing push-ups.
That is so cringy.
This is them marching. I think this is them marching to. Oh man, can you imagine if you're a parent and you saw your kid marching for Andrew Tate?
Or your boyfriend.
Or your boyfriend.
Or
That'd be
husband.
tough. Yeah, that's game over. Let me look. I might know some people in here. Is that Myron? Is Myron marching for him? Is that Myron Gaines marching for Andrew Tate?
It looks like it.
Is this a march for Andrew Tate? Okay, yeah. Oh my Lord. Oh. This is so stupid. Kiss. They all just made out later. What's this guy's name again? Showing up he's like Andrew's best bud. Clearly got hair transplants.
Looks like Pauly D.
Andrew Tate.
Looks like what?
Pauly D.
He does look like Polly.
Is not, as far as I'm aware, he hasn't been proven guilty of anything. He has not been convicted. So I'm here to defend a man who defends men all around the world.
Nothing what a democracy looks like. And that is what the UK looks like now. It is a fallen regime.
Yeah, dude, when you get arrested, it's not really a democratic thing. When you get charged with crimes, that kind of falls outside of democracy.
It is a despotic state.
I need a brain transplant. Why? I don't understand how cool Andrew Tate is. Is that the problem here?
It is a state that hates men, that hates Christianity, that hates masculinity, and that hates Andrew and Tristan Tate.
Maybe. You might not be way off there.
Those
Arrested for words. No, J-Sex. Arrested for rape and human trafficking. God damn, dude. Earlier, you're like, you didn't think I was that bad. Come on, man. Don't defend Andrew Tate. Don't do it. You have some bad opinions. This potentially could be your worst one, defending Andrew Tate. Don't do that. Don't be an Andrew Tate stan. That's not something you'll be proud of later on down the road. All right, let's look at some polling. Here's everybody's favorite pollster, Harry Enton. I've got two sets of polls to show you this morning. First, polling for just Americans. And I think this is generally how most Americans, especially younger Americans, feel.
Look, it's the American ideal that every generation is supposed to do better than their parents' generation. That's what we all think, but
it's the great American promise, right? And these are some of the most depressing stats that I think we, Johnny B and I and you have spoken about.
It's pronounced taint, not Tate. I'll fix that. Thank you. Illusion said, did you hear that Taint was preaching how he was so dominant and alpha in jail, but the inmates said if he continues, he will have some problems? No, I didn't. I bet he's having a great time just mouth kissing all the other inmates.
And you can see it right here. I mean, life opportunities versus your parents' generation. Worse or better? You go back to 2000. I mean, look at that. 72% said better opportunities versus just 5% who said worse. You go back 10 years ago, better was still ahead of worse, but the numbers get a little bit worse. 44% said better, 25% said worse. Look now at worse, though. The plurality, 45% say the life opportunities versus the parents' generation is, in fact, worse compared to just 33% who say better. So since the beginning of the 2000s, we've seen nearly a 40% drop in the better percentage and a 40% rise in the worst percentage. This, to me, more than anything else, tells us about our politics.
It makes me sad. That's what that's how it makes me feel. But because all of this is so predictable. Like, you could see the trajectory. You could see the trajectory of wealth inequality. You could see the trajectory of debt. You could see the trajectory of affordability. And then you watch this administration come in and you see what their plan is. And their plan to fix this trajectory is to cut taxes. Like, that's ever worked, ever? Now, of course, that wasn't going to work. This is all entirely predictable. And the people that are still supporting it, and the people that supported them, my only guess is you just closed your eyes. You just wanted so badly to believe that we could fix this by somehow taking in less money in taxes and giving more money to rich people. Somehow, some way, it finally trickle-down economics would kick in, and it would fix everything. Laura said, let's do this. I didn't get that. I read that one from Illusion. Brianna said, what do you call a vegan trans man? An herbivore. It's not bad. That's not bad. Robert said, doing my part for an 0-17 season. Hashtag substation. That's not nice. And Lindsay said, I'm on time with Antifa dudes, unlike you, Jay. It's true. I was not on time today, and I apologize. I'm deeply sorry about being late today. Deeply.
Approval rating is at a very low level.
Let's see if America's following. Now, I watched a clip this morning, and I can't find it now, which sucks. But the Republicans are out talking about the midterms, and they're talking about their convention and what they say they're going to do, what they say they're going to run on. And I swear to God, they said this. They're running on Trump. They're running on he's the greatest salesman ever to exist. We're running on Trump. That's probably not great if your numbers look like this.
Lowest of his presidency. CNN's Harry Enden looking at all the numbers. How low is it?
You know, if this were a game of limbo, President Trump would be winning. Unfortunately, this is the game of presidential popularity, and he is reaching record lows yet again. He is losing. Just take a look here. Oh,
J-Sex, nobody believes that you give a fuck about abortion or trans people. You just want to argue. No, those don't affect your life even a little bit. And they're not your real beliefs. They're just the only two that you've held on to, so you can just watch this collapse. What you're effectively saying, which is silly, is I'm watching the economic collapse of our country. I'm watching my future and the future of those around me be decimated, but I'm going to stick with it because abortion and trans people. Those are really like your two bugaboos that you won't go past. So, like, well, you'll watch the entire country fall apart. Wait, by the way, trans people still exist. They still exist. They can still get surgeries if they want to. They can still get gender affirming care. They can still identify how they want. They still have rights. Abortions are still happening in this country. So what are you what are you standing on here? Something that they said they were going to do? They say that they're going to do something. They're not going to do anything. It's just that if they agree with you on those positions, you're going to stick with them and just watch everything else collapse. That's a silly position, bud.
okay. Trump net approval hits a term too low. Look at this. 31 points underwater. 31 points underwater, according to Ipsos, the Reuters Ipsos poll. Look where he was at the beginning of term number 2. He was at plus 6 points. So he is down, what is that? The math quickly with me. 37 points from where he was at the beginning of his second presidency. You know, President Trump was unpopular going into the midterms during his first presidency, but not anywhere as unpopular as this. He was 12 points underwater. So he is doing, versus where he was at term number 1 at this point, he is doing, what is the math here quickly? He is doing 19 points worse than he was doing in term number 1 at this point. And of course, those midterms were quite disastrous for the Republican Party. So you look at these numbers and you just go, oy vey if you're a Republican.
All right. Independents have a big role to play always in elections. Give us some sense of where they stand, because there is still a lot of the party that supports Donald Trump.
Yeah. I'll clarify. JASEKS is J-Sex. JASEX, whatever you want to say it. I say J-Sex, but that's the username of the person who has the worst opinions here.
Yeah, okay. So you know what? Republicans still, in large part, support Donald Trump. But as independents, who are the name of the game, they are the driver in elections. And just look at why these numbers are falling the way that they are. It is because of independents. Look at these drops. I mean, Trump's net approval rating among independents, term 2. He's 47 points underwater now. 47 points underwater. He was at minus 1 point at the beginning of his presidency. Basically,
Now, again, the reason we're showing this is not that Trump's running again. The Republican Party is so void of solutions that they're all cowering and hiding behind Trump now, and they're saying that they're just going to run on Trump. They literally don't have policies. Literally no policy. If they do, tell me what it is. What's their plan to fix wealth inequality? What's their plan to address affordability? What's their plan on healthcare? They don't have one. So they're literally running on, we love Trump, and he's at all-time historic lows. That's how bad things are going. You can't even abandon Trump, because even Donald Trump at historic lows is a better option than nothing.
Water, right? So what is that? That's a 46-point drop. So you see that drop of what, 31 points from where he was at the beginning of his presidency, or 37 points from where he was at the beginning of his presidency among the overall electorate. But that's nothing compared to this 46-point drop among independents. And compare that to where he was at this point in term number 1 before those midterms. Again, he was underwater then, but he was just 10 points underwater then. Now he's 47 points underwater. So that's a drop of what? 37 points. So this has been the problem with President Trump's second term, according to
the Dems are running on higher taxes. Yeah, and if you don't think that we should raise taxes, then you do not understand math. Right? The Dems are running on math, and the Republicans are running on, I don't like math. Math makes me uncomfortable. Yeah. The Dems are running on, there's going to be some people that need to pay more in taxes. And Republicans are like, what if we keep giving tax cuts to rich people? Do you think that'll finally fix it?
Public, which is he is going and placating the base, but leaving the center of the electorate behind. But you know what? You have to win the center of the electorate in order to maintain your popularity, in order for Republicans to win in these midterm elections. But independents are saying, you know what? We don't like what's going on. See you later.
Yeah, and the big question is, do they show up and vote for a Democrat or do they not show up?
Blue Chew wants to remind me, hey, buddy, their policies are 2 weeks out. Chill. Good point.
Those are always the questions that you have to ask.
I play like evil doesn't exist for your math argument. Evil is made up. It literally doesn't. It's just made up. Whatever you think is evil is evil. There's no way to really define it. There's nothing evil about anything that you're talking about. J6, like the problem with you is you just have like this simple brain that requires only simple answers that do nothing more than fill your little belly, make you feel full.
Oh, I like that one. I like that one where I'm on the good side and they're on the evil side. My tummy feels better now. I'm going to take a nap.
That's all you have. And you're here every day. Like, you could just learn something. You don't have to agree with us, but could you learn like one thing? Just like one thing ever. And come with something besides like bumper sticker slogans? Just one thing. What have you learned since you've been here?
I've learned that the Dems are evil. I don't like them very much. They make me feel angry.
But it's the same shit with you every single day. We want you guys to have a policy. We want you to run on that policy at some point. We used to have Trump. We used to have Musk. We lost them both. We even lost Bill Maher. Yeah, cool. Those are good losses. We call that addition by subtraction. You think anybody gives a fuck about Donald Trump? Well, when I was a Republican, Donald Trump was a Republican. He wasn't influential. The reason he wound up being a Republican is because he could be influential over there. Why? Because people see money and they forget that being rich doesn't mean that you're intelligent. So like, he's rich, he must be smart. So he went and he took over your entire party just by lying. All he had to do was show up and start lying about shit. Barack Obama was born in Kenya. He was? Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK. He did? I didn't even know that. He's going to drain the swamp and he's going to lock her up. And you all just like fell for it. That only works with dipshits. Donald Trump couldn't have run as a Democrat because he's too fucking stupid. I don't even like the Democrats. Like, it's not that high of a bar. There's like, Fetterman's a senator. Not that bright. But Donald Trump was too dumb for Democrats, so he just had to go be a Republican. And he elevated the dumbest people in your party. Like, after Mitt Romney, they decided, you know what we're not going to do anymore? We're not going to listen to the educated people anymore because the educated people lost to Obama. So we're going to go with the dipshits. And Trump's like, I've got great news. I am going to be the leader of the dipshits. And then he took over. He's the leader of the dipshits, and here we are. Minus 47 points. Wealth inequality at all-time highs. National debt is skyrocketing. We're in a war that makes no fucking sense, that's driving up the cost to all of us. We can't afford basic necessities. We're bleeding dry on munitions. And there is absolutely, positively no plan. None. The only plan seems to be how much money can Trump make on crypto and how much can his donors make before the Democrats win the midterms. That seems to be the only plan. Like, how much can we grift off these people? Near in here, like,
the socialism is scary. I'm very scared of the socialism.
Keep playing the same clip. The Dems are even worse. Well, how come you have to compare Donald Trump to an entire group of people? Yes, as a whole, the Democrats are not very popular, but you know who is? The progressives in the Democratic Party. You know who's really popular? You know whose polling numbers are going up? Mamdani. Mamdani won the mayor's race, and his approval rating is higher now than it was when he took over. You can do good stuff. Trump's approval ratings are tanking for a reason, and it's not Trump derangement syndrome, I promise. Like, most people in America would love to see Donald Trump be successful. And most people would love that we have the lowest possible taxes and everything works out, but it's just not reality. We lowered taxes and it fucked us. We're in a bad position. There are times there are times when lowering taxes makes sense, but it has to make sense mathematically. And right now is literally, there's no argument for lowering taxes whatsoever. And they're like, we're going to do it. And you all just went with it. Speaking of polling, though, this is actually a crazy story. Um, the polling company called Median Strategies was largely responsible for Francesca Hong having a giant lead in the gubernatorial primary in Wisconsin. So much so that when she lost the primary, it was seen as a big win for establishment Democrats and an upset. Turns out Median Strategies had other issues. They shut down after this polling whiff where they had her up by 23 points. Los Angeles Times reported on Monday that the company had shared a bogus poll showing Mayor Karen Bass had a nearly 12-point advantage on Democratic Socialist Nithya Raman in the city's mayoral race. Bass celebrated the poll on X on August 14th by posting, "Doing the work, showing up, and getting momentum. Let's do this, LA." The post has now since been deleted. Median Strategies had said the poll was based on a survey of 560 Los Angeles voters between July 30th and August 5th, but refused to answer questions when pressed by the LA Times for answers. It then closed up shop right after claiming the operation was a stealth way of proving the polling industry is a big joke. Median Strategies was created as a short-term social experiment to examine how purported polling information could enter and spread through the political information ecosystem without independent verification, the company said in an email to the outlet. "We are not seeking publicity or attribution for the individuals involved and are declining interviews." Beyond the fake polls, Median Strategies had said Hung had a 23-point lead on David Crowley in the Democratic race to become Wisconsin's next governor. But instead of smoking the competition, the Thanksgiving hater turned lover lost to Crowley by a thin margin last week. It is fucking crazy that was a big issue. That she didn't like Thanksgiving, and that cost her the election. How soft are we as Americans? For the record, my family celebrates Thanksgiving. We always have. We've never talked about any of the history behind it. And I have no problem with people not celebrating Thanksgiving. I think all the arguments that I've ever heard for not celebrating Thanksgiving are good arguments. I do think that it is largely a bullshit holiday and that we're not very honest about the way that we treated indigenous people. But like, why does everybody care? Like, why does anybody care what a political candidate says about Thanksgiving? I think it's probably here. Okay, what did she said? She had previously called for aborting the holiday, and then she said, "Yep, I don't want to cancel it. I actually love it." She told a reporter she celebrates the holiday with both her family and her in-laws, which is pretty standard stuff. Her Ice Out pin and Milwaukee's Bucks Out probably features. It's a big event. I'm gonna be real. I'm kind of a curmudgeon when it comes to holidays in general. She hasn't always been a fan. Hong said Thanksgiving should be canned since a since deleted X post in 2021 arguing that it was something that should have been done 500 years earlier. Yeah, I don't really care about any of that stuff. Some people do, but it's crazy that matters in an election. Yeah, it's culture war distraction bullshit. Exactly. I think that there are people that are more principled than others on these things, and I applaud those who are more principled. But man, I would never vote based on that. That would never be even in consideration for who I was going to vote for. Is Iran a new war now? I guess so, maybe. She's racist. Yeah, we got it, J6. Yeah, you care a lot about racism too, for sure. The second you call out a single Republican for being racist, why is she racist, by the way? It mattered to her. It did matter to her when she wasn't running. But what about her makes her racist? Ignore that she hates white people. What's your evidence that she hates white people? I didn't follow that race very closely. Does anybody, you guys want to help? I'll Google that she hates white people. It's not stated that she hates white people. Critics and political opponents point to a resurfaced social media post from 2018 and 19 where she complained about uncomfortable encounters with older white individuals. Hong later addressed and walked back those remarks, calling them a silly tweet that did not reflect her. Let's see if we can find these tweets. These are old tweets from 2018. She's racist. Okay, let's see. We have the exact tweet. Let's see if I can go to Twitter and find it. I'm going to guess that these aren't going to be that racist. So you can stop being racist? No, I think that I think racism and white supremacy is built in to our culture, And if you participate in this American experiment and you are a white person, I think that if you're participating in white supremacy, by definition, you can be racist. It's your job to deconstruct that and do your best. But until it's gone, I think that it's okay to say that participating in the system is racist. I'm just looking for these tweets. Whoever said they wanted to debate me, you're welcome to debate me on anything. Okay, when I see, let's see. I don't see. I don't see anything that's racist. Do you guys have one? Okay, you can come up and debate me, Lothric. Didn't we debate already one time? Hope Lothric. What do you want to talk about? Sorry, I'll pull this up so you guys can see it too. I know you're just looking at a blank screen like.
You know, how our industry really did come from it, and kind of is rooted in white supremacy, that tipping in itself. If we look at the history of tipping and how racist it is and how it has kept wages low for Black people for a very long time. And if you look at tipping now, how different the scales are in terms of who receives higher percentage of the tips.
Yeah, I've got no problem with that. And this is just a disconnect between the educated and the uneducated. When you talk about racism isn't I hate people based on their race. Like it could be structural racism, it could be systemic racism. Yeah, it's true that people who were viewed as less than were allowed to be paid lower wages, and they relied on tips for their wages, and that disproportionately affected people of color. So that doesn't mean that I hate people of color or I hate Black people. It is what it is, right? Structurally, I never spend any time trying to figure out how somebody feels in their heart. It's not worth the time to even make that argument. So tipping is racist now. No, do you want to hear it again? You want to hear it again?
That is in the service industry. We are finally having this conversation about, you know, how our industry really did come from it, and kind of is rooted in white supremacy.
Okay. So even you're saying 60, no, not racist now. How hard? Why is it so hard for you? She just said that this is the history of tipping. It was built on white supremacy. So if you're saying, so that's racist now, then I think you're missing the whole point. I don't judge anybody's hearts. I don't care about any of your hearts, honestly.
Tipping in itself. If we look at the history of tipping and how racist it is and how
That's a great question. You're such an idiot. Where do you come from anyway? Socialism has never worked in the history of the world, you moron. Fun fact, I was born and raised in Utah, and I currently live in Mesa, Arizona, both places that were founded on the principles of socialism, where they had a storehouse where they worked together and shared the means of production. They shared in the fruits of that production. Everybody did their part, and they put every bit of work, farming, agricultural work, goods, they put into a bishop's storehouse, and then it was actually divided equally amongst families. So both where I grew up and where I live now were founded on before socialism was a thing. They were founded on those very principles. So it is interesting that you say it's never worked before. I'm also not a socialist, but weird that you brought that up, because both where I was born and where I live now both were founded on socialism. Just they didn't call it socialism. Fun, huh? Okay, all right. We got distracted there. It's funny. Like I don't even know. Like you don't even care about racism. That's the craziest thing. Like you don't care. Like anybody in your party can say anything racist, and you don't give a shit. But if you have the opportunity to call somebody on the left racist, it seems like almost every time it has been something that you didn't understand. In this case, apparently it was problematic for her to accurately point out the tipping was introduced and was built on white supremacy, and you missed that entire point to go, see, she hates white people. Kyle says, I'm late, but get the Duke tickets to A1, Supercross in Anaheim, perfect birthday present. Jen said this is a new relationship, sir. She's not throwing out that kind of cash. That's right, Duke. You should be grateful just to be in her presence for her birthday. I got you, Jen. All right. Moving on after, anyways, fake polling. This was just a weird, this entire interview that Trump had yesterday was very strange. I'm only showing this because I think Donald Trump has lost it Even the Donald Trump that we knew 3 or 4 years ago, this is insane behavior from any single human being, let alone the president of the United States. And I just want to show this from both angles.
Mr. President, to scale back on those.
Quiet. You're very disrespectful in front of this young man.
She's just asking questions, just like everybody else. She's just asking questions that he doesn't like. This is CNN's Kristen Holmes. She was asking him questions about Iran. He doesn't like them.
Okay. Don't you find her disrespectful?
And then he just nudged a 10-year-old kid. And now he's looped in a 10-year-old kid who obviously didn't respond. And now he's going to claim that that 10-year-old kid also thinks she's disrespectful for doing her job and asking a question.
He understands. Quiet. Who are you with?
I'm with CNN.
Fake news.
I just
You're
wanted to
fake
follow
news.
up on the South
You're
Korea
a
question.
You're a loud, boisterous person. You're fake news.
I was
Be
trying to
quiet.
find out if
Be
you had
quiet.
been talking
Be
to
quiet.
Kim Jong-un, if he had asked you
You're a
to
fake
scale back
reporter, and you
on
report
those
fake
military
news. Go
exercises.
ahead.
God, what a snowflake. Exactly. He just can't be asked a question. He freaks out just by being asked a question. Look at the people the people in here too. Like, she's rude. What was rude about that? Tell me what was rude about this question.
I wanted to follow up on the South Korea question.
You're a
Sorry, it
loud,
was South Korea.
boisterous person. You're fake news.
I had a follow-up on the South Korea question.
I was trying to find out if
Be
you had
quiet.
been talking
Be
to Kim
quiet.
Jong-un, if he had asked
You're
you
a
to
fake
scale back
reporter, and you
on
report
those
fake
military
news. Go
exercises.
ahead.
What's wrong with that question? Trump actually answered that question later. He said that Kim Jong-un did call him. Somebody just explain why this is a problem. What part of this am I missing that led to Donald Trump being this upset? CNN should have their license revoked. Yeah, for sure. They're asking too many questions. Yeah, pull their license. You're supposed to just praise him. Get rid of the license. All right. Here's Trump here. Nope, this is the wrong one. Sorry. This was Good Morning America. But this is, I guess I don't have that link. Here's an update. We had a 60-day ceasefire with Iran. That 60-day ceasefire ended. Now we're being told that 60-day ceasefire has been extended. I don't know why we can't just come home. Somebody, one of you guys that wants to debate, maybe you can come up here and explain to me why we don't just come home. But I thought this was a good encapsulation of what's going on from Good Morning America.
Put an end to the Iran war, President Trump is now threatening to expand it, issuing a blunt and profane warning to a U.S. ally in the region.
With oil prices climbing higher and talks with Iran going nowhere, President Trump threatened to, quote, bomb the expletive out of U.S. ally Oman if they get in the way of his goals in the Strait of Hormuz.
I dare one of you to tell me what Oman did to piss him off. One of you tell me. Gary, you got a lot to say. What did Oman do to piss off Donald Trump that said he's going to bomb them? I bet you don't know. Gary, you have to answer my questions or else we have to mute you. I'm tired. We're not going to talk about Joe Biden right now. Stay on subject. They did something. Yeah. As soon as J6 finds out what Oman did, he's going to agree that they should be bombed. He's already decided that. What'd they do? Yeah, that's a good question. I dare one of you to pick out Oman on a map. I thought he was saying, oh, man.
Hormuz.
I don't think they behaved very well, but we'd handle them very easily, just like we do other things.
Oman and Iran are currently in talks about setting up a system of transit through the strait. One potential plan would allow both countries to charge a toll.
The war has reduced ship traffic in the strait to a standstill, rattling world markets and raising the price of gas. On average, Americans are paying over $4 a gallon, up over $1 since the war began. The president insists that the U.S. has full control over the strategic waterway. He even suggests he may soon declare it a U.S. territory. But his own energy secretary says disruptions to ship traffic remain.
We're in a conflict zone right now.
This comes as U.S. military officials are scrambling to respond to a Trump Truth Social post condemning long-planned joint exercises with South Korea. In the post, which blindsided military leaders, Trump cited his, quote, very good relationship with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un and called the drills inappropriate and hostile towards North Korea and said they would be substantially reduced. He also criticized South Korea for not joining the U.S.-led campaign against Iran.
Why would they? Why the fuck would South Korea join this war? They've got nukes. I don't think they do. Well, can you join anyways? No thanks. Why in the world would anybody join us with Iran? Now Donald Trump's just mad because he was the only one dumb enough. Nobody will join us. Nobody. The United States of America. We've dragged people into some shitty wars, and nobody will join us for this one. Did North Korea join? I don't know. There's a reason for this. They're not idiots. Donald Trump is.
How do you respond to folks who say that you are prioritizing the interests of adversaries in North Korea over our longtime partners by scaling back the military exercises?
I'm making it much safer. You see, I'm actually making it much safer. Kim Jong-un has always treated me with great respect.
And this morning,
why does he love dictators so much? He's making them safer by lashing out at them and trying to get shake them down for more money.
Iran is saying yet again that the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed until the United States meets all of its conditions. Iran's parliamentary speaker saying the waterway will not be open until, look at this, George, frozen assets are released, the blockade is lifted, the oil embargo is lifted, threats and military operations cease, and other conditions.
Absolutely.
In other words,
stalemate
it's going
right
to be closed.
There. Yeah. Meantime, you mentioned the president lashing out at South Korea. He's continuing this courtship of Kim Jong-un. He had this other post yesterday on Truth Social. Look at that right there. He says, "Hey, Donald, be cool." Right, that's the second post like that over a series of 3 days, despite the...
Why does he always have people like treating him like they're afraid of him that aren't afraid of him? Do you think that's what happened? Do you think Kim Jong-un called and was like, "Hey, man, we're cool"? No. I don't think anybody's really afraid of him. This war in Iran has shown that Donald Trump has no stomach. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he's not tough. He backs down all the time. I don't think people that were afraid of a military led by Donald Trump are still afraid by that of that military in the same way. Obviously, we got some cool toys. But if you're going to ever fight the United States, maybe the time to do it is when Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump are in charge. Because at the very least, you're going to outsmart them.
The fact that North Korea has a nuclear arsenal that could threaten the U.S. and our allies.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he said that they've been in contact.
I'm a big idiot. I hear you, bud. I know, big feelings.
What that contact is, but it's worth remembering that Trump met with Kim Jong-un 3 times, including 2 summits, in terms of getting them to give up their nuclear weapons, a total failure. In fact, North Korea's nuclear arsenal is larger now than it has ever been, and they are suspected of helping the Iranians, not to mention the troops they're sending to fight in Ukraine for Vladimir Putin.
For Russia, right. John Carl, thanks very much. Michael?
All right.
Good morning, George. Unable to...
We're just fighting everybody. Anything but admitting that he's blown this war in Iran. Anything but that. Now we're fighting with Oman. We're fighting with the South Koreans. We're shaking them down for $10 billion. For what reason? Anybody on that? Why are we shaking down South Korea right now? So now they have the largest nuke arsenal and they plan on helping Iran? For sure. At the beginning of this term, they were worried about lost revenue, but they now realize they can make new trade deals with non-U.S. countries. That's true. Yeah, the Gulf states are losing their patience with the United States. They're getting blown up for this war. They didn't want to be part of this war. They didn't ask for it, and they're being blown up too. If I was them, I wouldn't trust the United States either. It's interesting in the United States that you can have one of 2 political opinions. You can have the political opinion that the United States needs to stop getting in everybody's shit, or you can have the political opinion that everybody should do what Donald Trump says always, and if you don't, then you should die. Those are like your 2 political opinions that you can have currently. Now, there's like some nuance on one side of that, but on the Trump side, that's it. The Trump side of the argument is do whatever Donald Trump wants, or else you are the bad guys. You are evil. You are the enemy if you don't do exactly what Donald Trump asks you to do. That's it's pathetic. It's not working, and it's going to take a long time to rebuild those relationships. But I think maybe more importantly, it has weakened us on a global scale. It has made us look weak, incompetent, easy to be manipulated. This is going to be some damage that will take years to undo, which is probably fine in my book, honestly. I kind of like that Donald Trump is ruining our reputation. Perhaps maybe there will be leadership in the future that says maybe we don't just be the bully. Maybe we don't invade a country every fucking time they don't want to give us their oil. Maybe we mind our own goddamn business and fix things here at home. Maybe. Or I guess Republicans can get popular again at some point and we'll just start invading countries in the Middle East again on behalf of Israel and then pretend it's not on behalf of Israel. Ships breaking down for days proves it too. Both of those opinions below. Well, sorry. Sorry. I'll try and have better opinions. All right. Here's Trump now is also saying that the Strait of Hormuz he tweeted out that the Strait of Hormuz is now American territory. Here he is being asked about that.
We're way ahead of schedule, and many presidents are going to use it for many years to come. The country will have one of the greatest gifts it's ever received. One more.
Last week you said that you would soon declare the Strait of Hormuz to be a territory of the United States. Could you elaborate?
Well, I just think it's a great idea. Yeah, I mean, we control it.
It's the Strait of America.
We control it with the blockade.
No, we don't.
Have a blockade. We control it with the blockade. And I like the idea of declaring it a territory.
Why might you do that?
We have total control over the strait. Now,
we don't. Now, Donald Trump is going to repeat all this stuff. He's not serious about making it an American territory. It's a distraction. What he's doing now is he's going to rattle off a bunch of things that are not true that he has to say every single day because repetition convinces MAGA that something is real. If they hear it 10 times, they're like, it must be real. They wouldn't keep saying it if it wasn't true. Now, Donald Trump's about to rattle off a bunch of things that aren't true to remind you, MAGA, that you need to believe things that aren't true. So here you go. I'm doing you a favor. Here's a list of things that are untrue that you are required to believe.
Territory. We have total control over the strait. Now, they can be a nuisance. They can put a mine in the water, and people don't like having mines hit their $1 billion.
Total control, except for they can put mines in the water. I would say that is, by definition, not total control.
etc. But the blockade has been very effective. And, we're taking out, now maybe that will stop, or maybe it'll open up even further, but we're taking out millions of barrels of oil a week. If you look at the kind of numbers that we're doing, the strait is open.
We are not doing that. We aren't transporting the oil. I don't know what he's talking about. Do you guys know what he's talking about? What do you mean we are taking out oil?
And the oil prices are coming down, and they will continue to come down unless we decide to do something far more drastic than we're doing. Iran is in big trouble. They have 300% inflation. The country's a mess, and the military is totally defeated. Thank you very much, everyone.
Just rattle off the talking points. It works for MAGA. They'll sit here and they'll fight till the death. You guys go. I think that's the solution. MAGA, you guys go fight the war. If you win and things get better, we'll all admit that you were correct. How about that? And you guys signed up for the military lately? Go fight in this war? All right. This made me laugh on CNN on Newsnight with Abby Phillip. This is a viewer question, and Stepien here accidentally asks a question that everybody knows the answer to. This just made me laugh. But if you are not MAGA, and you can throw out any partisan Democrats too, if you're just a normal human being and you're analyzing why prices are high, why inflation is up, why gas prices are up, you are forced to conclude that it is because of this war in Iran. Then, if you are, again, not partisan and you're just simply following facts that we know of, you are then forced to admit that there is no evidence that Iran had a nuclear weapon. There is no evidence that they were building a nuclear weapon. And there is no evidence that they had created missiles that could be a danger to the United States homeland. Those are just the facts. Now, you can say, I think we should go and attack Iran because they haven't liked us for a lot of years. Fine. They chant death to America. Sure, fine. They killed some of their own people. Sure, fine. That's not what your administration is saying, though. So those arguments could be your argument if you were the administration. But this administration said that the reason that we went to Iran is there was an imminent threat. They have not told us what that imminent threat is. And the people that have been briefed on this in classified settings have said there was no imminent threat. If I am unaware of the imminent threat and something has come out since yesterday, could any of you please let me know what that imminent threat was? If not, I think we're forced to either conclude that you are just in the cult, so you believe everything they say, or you're a troll, I think, right? Because you can't really look at the evidence and say that, yes, Iran was on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon. Refining nuclear materials over 60% is all the proof you need. No. That's all the proof that you need. And even if that didn't exist, all you would need is Donald Trump saying that they were building a nuclear weapon. That's actually all the evidence that you need. You don't need that 60% enrichment rate. You don't need anything. You just need Donald Trump saying, we're going after them, and that's going to be plenty for you. Be honest.
Unfortunately, this one is a tough one, but I'll give it to you. If it was an easy military operation in Iran, why are we still there? This commenter asks.
Who said it was easy?
Trump. I love it. Who said it was easy? Oh, your guy did. Whoops. It's funny. I do feel not bad, but I would hate to have the job of defending Republicans on television. They said it was going to be like 2 weeks. In fact, they told us the 12-day war had completely demilitarized them and killed their nuclear program. And then we had to come back a few months later and start a new war.
4 or 5 weeks. Now it's 6 months. I think he's appropriately dialing back expectations. You had a bunch of bravado, a bunch of tough guys at podiums. I think he's now seeing that this is going to be something that he's in, and this is going to be a long game.
When's he going to say that, though? There's a lot. I think Donald Trump understands. Okay, but when's he going to say it? Because it sounds like he says the war's over and we're in total control. That's what it sounds like he's saying.
But he set the expectation. Yeah. So now I wouldn't say he's actually dialing it back. I think he just runs and talks about the ballroom if he has to dial anything back.
Bingo.
There's no dialing back with this president. I wish there was.
And look, he thought this would be Venezuela, and it was not. All right.
All right. Getting back to Donald Trump saying he's going to bomb the shit out of Oman, even Fox News was confused by this. Here was the reaction after playing the clip of Trump saying that we may bomb the shit out of Oman. Here's Fox News trying to make sense of that.
Just like we do other things.
No, what's Oman been doing wrong? They were trying to engage in negotiations with Iran on the Strait of Hormuz. Apparently, they made their case. Then they turned it over to the U.S. in Iran and just been sitting on the sidelines ever since.
John, I don't see Oman doing anything that would make them complicit in supporting the Iranian regime. And I would
still waiting for the Republicans to tell me what Oman did wrong. Do none of you know? You just don't. Trump says attack, and you're like, all right, yeah, we're not going to look into that.
Rather, the administration focuses on fulfilling the threats they've made to the regime. As an example, in the last few days, 3 tankers have been struck in the Strait of Hormuz. The administration has said there would be a strong U.S. response if that happened, and our credibility is on the line every time we don't follow through on those threats, and I'd rather we focus on
You don't care what Ammon did?
that instead of making new threats to Oman.
Yeah, I know that Oman has got a close relationship with Iran, but I don't know what they've been doing to earn that.
Yeah, nobody knows. Nobody can figure out. It's just that Trump wants people to join the war, and they're like, no. And he's like, fine, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot missiles at you. And they're like, you're probably not going to do that. And he's like, yeah, I am. I'm totally going to do it. And then he never does it. He just never, ever, ever does it. Nobody's afraid of him anymore. They all think that these threats are empty because they are empty. You think that makes us look strong? How many more times does Trump have to back down from a threat before you're willing to say maybe we look weak? Said the only imminent threat Iran poses is they want to nationalize their oil sources. Kanks and company can't and won't allow that. B87 said, so if the Strait becomes part of America, are all Muslims born in that area automatically American citizens? It's a good question. It's a fair question. Amy said, we all know Trump will taco anyways, always. Before anything, Trump is always, first and foremost, a giant fucking pussy. He is a person who never backs up his words. He just threatens to, before he was president and he had the military, he just threatened to sue people all the time. Now he's the president and he threatens to sue people, which he loses almost every single time. And he has the military to murder people in other countries, which is something that I think Republicans really enjoy. Finally, we got a guy that's out there just indiscriminately murdering. That's probably, does that make it, do we like that? Are there Republicans here that still think we should stay in Iran? Do you think this is going well? Is there anybody here who's willing to come up and discuss with me why you think this is going well and why we should stay? Why we shouldn't just pull out today? Is there a good answer or a good reason not to just say, like, fuck it, let's go home? I'd be really interested to hear your opinion on that. I let's say that I'm biased on this. Could be. Let's say that I have a blind spot here. Very well could be. Could you give me an argument for why in the world we would stay? What do we plan to accomplish here? Yeah, Buffini, Ice also here. Yeah. That's one truth I said. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm an honest guy. You might not like my opinions, but I'm honest about it. And you can, as Jen told you, you're always welcome to come up here and talk to me about it. If you message JENNDUBB1, that's GenDub1. You can see it up here a little bit bigger now. Make that easy for you. You can message her on Discord. You're welcome to come up and join the program at any time, and we will talk about the things that you want to talk about. Happy to do it. Happy to have a conversation. I'm wish we had more conversations. I don't love hearing my own voice for 3.5 hours, but sometimes we have to do that. All right, now here's Trump getting back to it. I don't. Whoops, that's the wrong one. I don't even know why we're talking about South Korea. I don't know why we're upset with South Korea. All I know is that Trump is shaking them down for money, which seems to be actually what Trump is best at, is getting other countries to either give us money or promise to give us money.
Sir, why hasn't Kim Jong-un responded to your request to have a conversation?
How do you know he hasn't responded?
Has he?
Yeah, he has.
I don't know why he did that. I don't know if I believe him or not, to be honest.
Where are you in conversation?
And very positive. Well, just so you understand with South Korea, look, South Korea has been protected by us for many, many years. And during my first term, they agreed to pay close to $3 billion a year for protection because we don't, they essentially weren't paying. And I asked them to do that at my request. I said, not right. They weren't happy about it, but they agreed. I asked for $10 billion, and they were very unhappy. But we agreed for a short term that it would be $3 billion, and next year it would go up, and the next year it would go up, so they start paying for their protection. When the election was—
I mean, in all fairness, it's actually a fiscally responsible thing to do, to try and get people to help pay for the protection. On the other side, we are spending like idiots. We're blowing through our military budgets like absolute idiots. Hey, Jen, are you there?
Yeah.
Here's what I need to do, actually. I have to step out, and I need to take a phone call. So I'm going to start. That was the last one here. I'm going to start this video, and I'm going to ignore this call. I'm going to call him right back. But if you can just watch for a second, guys, I'll be back in like 3 or 4 minutes. Here's something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. We do talk about this all the time. Recently, I was in a TikTok live. Do you remember that thumb that I was debating?
That statistic is called the law. Say the name again. I'm sorry.
Do you remember the thumb that I was debating that got a really red face?
Oh. I don't remember his name, but yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that we talked about, and one of the things that I think is severely misunderstood by the opponents of Medicare for All, is how much money we can actually save by getting rid of the profit arm of the insurance companies. This is More Perfect Union. They always do great work. Make sure you subscribe to them. They went and they looked into the major insurance companies, in this case, property and casualty, and they looked at where the money that you're giving them goes. Now, remember, insurance companies are there to do one thing. They are there to pay your bill. You pay for insurance, that money goes into the coffers, and when you have a claim either on your house or your car, they use the coffers to then pay out your claim. I would say that if I was looking to have the most efficient insurance company, I would look at who is going to use the biggest percentage of that money towards our claims versus who isn't. And you might be surprised to know that over the course of decades, the percentage of money going towards claims and the percentage of money going towards the pockets of those people that are working at the insurance companies has become almost 50-50. I want to show this. Did I see the Yale 2026 Medicare for All study? I did. Yes, and we're going to go over that maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But let me play this video. I just got a call. It looked like the courts were calling me, so I apologize. Thanks for your patience. Let me start this. Jen's here. If you need something, I'll be right back.
Looking at the bill, I was like, whoa, I was dumbfounded. And I'm just thinking, why is it so expensive? What can we do?
Since 2020, the cost of insurance for your car or your home has shot up more than twice as much as inflation.
As wildfire risk rises, so do homeowner insurance rates.
It's part of an overall pattern of increasing rates amid extreme weather events.
Less coverage for more money.
The usual explanation is that we live in a more dangerous world, so all of us have to pay for increased risks. But that doesn't explain this. Last year, the insurance industry made record profits. It made me wonder, are the higher insurance prices we're paying really necessary?
There is this huge profit margin.
They're basically price gouging the climate crisis.
I spoke to policyholders and insurance experts and found another story of billion-dollar companies that figured out how to exploit our legitimate fears while increasingly failing to protect us.
We, in good faith, do what we do, expecting the system to work. Does anybody care about us?
With Americans now spending a record $1 trillion a year to pay for property and casualty insurance, where is all that money going? And how can we fix this system so that we can get insurance that actually works at a cost we can afford?
Hi, Sam. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Taking care of my family right now, it's been very challenging. I'll say, okay, to my wife, can you do this, pay this on the car payment? I do the home insurance, the car insurance, the mortgage.
Jason Minot lives in northern New Jersey. In 2021, he and his wife bought a house and started looking for insurance.
Shopped around a lot.
The best option they could find cost $800 a year. Now, 5 years later, the cost is nearly $3,000.
My older son, we had him in karate. We had to take him out of that. I would like to put my kids in extra activities, but we cannot really afford that.
Home insurance makes up more than 10% of the average US mortgage payment, up from 5% 20 years ago. There are concrete reasons for the increase. Here in New Jersey, storms like Hurricane Ida have caused billions in damage. In fact, Hurricane Ida damaged Jason's house, and he had to spend about $20,000 to repair it. But that money came mostly out of his own pocket. He says his insurance company denied his claim, citing existing wear and tear, and sent him a check for only $1,900.
I feel cheated. Why myself and my family and others has to pay so much expensive insurance premium, and still at the end we don't get the protection that we pay for.
What we found was the prices are going up, but they don't need to be going up. The margins are huge.
Brian Shearer is a former official at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. He recently published a report about the property and casualty insurance industry, aka P&C insurance.
Property and casualty insurance.
Thanks, guys. I'm back now. I'll try and read the chat for any questions. I appreciate you indulging me there. Sometimes I have to take those emergency calls, so thank you.
Insurance is effectively everything other than health insurance and life insurance.
Brian looked at how much money P&C insurance companies take in from customers in premiums versus how much they pay out in claims. That statistic is called the loss ratio.
You can tell whether insurance is overpriced by looking at the loss ratios.
Take a group of homeowners buying home insurance. Insurance companies sell to them based on risk, pricing in the probability.
This is More Perfect Union, Recon, Texas. They're a great channel on YouTube. They do incredible work, especially if you're a progressive. They make things really, really simple.
Of disasters. Over the year, the insurance companies pay out a certain amount of that. The closer the loss ratio is to 100, the fairer the price for consumers.
Between the 70s and the 80s, there was an average of about 80% loss ratios, and in fact, it even spiked up to close to 90% on several occasions.
But in the last 2 decades, loss ratios have dropped.
I looked at it and thought, this doesn't make sense. Why are these loss ratios so low?
In 2024, the average loss ratio for the P&C insurance industry was just 62%. And for homeowners insurance, it was even lower.
2025, the loss ratio was 55%.
On average, the industry is keeping close to half of the money that homeowners are paying in.
In 2024, 2025
homeowners insurance was $1,450 in 2021 and 2022. Now it's $4,200. Jesus Christ.
When the news has been riddled with stories about how climate change needs to be increasing insurance rates, we're seeing some of the lowest loss ratios we've ever seen. The insurance industry is price gouging the crisis.
In response to Brian's report, the American Property Casualty Insurance Association said that low loss ratios reflect that companies are trying to, quote, maintain and restore financial strength so funds are available to pay future claims. In other words, they're saving money for really bad years. So I wanted to know, is there a way to see if that's true?
So this is what they're spending the money on.
Just want to point out, saving money to pay for bad years. What does that mean when it comes to insurance? That means not paying you out what you are owed. The argument against insurance being run by the government is that they will not pay, that they will ration payments. There's not a single property and casualty insurance company that I've ever worked with that doesn't ration, that doesn't negotiate, that doesn't barter. Some of you may know I used to own an insurance agency for about 3 years. I am licensed to sell property and casualty insurance in the great state of Arizona and some other states as well. I didn't work a ton in the industry. Like, we wound up purchasing other people's books, and then we wound up selling them. But I can tell you that creating our own customer service department, the biggest frustration is that we constantly had these customers who we swore up and down that we were working with reputable companies and that they would pay out claims. And we always had to deal with their shit. They never, ever paid out claims in a timely manner. They always fought. You almost always had to settle or pay for a lawyer, which then was going to be cost you more than it was worth. So then you just wind up settling and you get screwed. It's such a fucking racket. It's legitimately a racket. This is like, I've been watching Sopranos. Is legit. Like, this isn't that different than the people walking into a new store and being like, hey, we get 10%. We'll see you in a week. Every week you're going to give us 10% or 5% or whatever. It's a racket, and there's no oversight. And now they're just robbing us blind. And they do it. They love doing it in red states like in Florida. If you look at the cost of insurance in Florida, you know this. If you have property insurance in Florida, they had to create a state-run insurance program because there were too many people who couldn't get insurance because all these insurance companies either fled Florida or they're paying out dick. And then you have these massively skyrocketing property values because Florida doesn't charge any income taxes, and all these wealthy people moved to Florida and drove up the cost of housing, which is what your insurance premiums are partially based on, right? The value to replace or the value to fix. If those prices go up, then your insurance premiums go up. So suddenly you have all these people who can, already maybe they're comfortable, maybe they can barely afford to keep insurance. Suddenly it's either unaffordable or it has taken the people who are comfortable and made them very uncomfortable.
The annual breakdown of P&C insurance industry expenditures, which include their basic costs of operation, overhead, as well as buying their own insurance called reinsurance. But in recent years, the largest category of discretionary spending for P&C insurers was on this.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm.
Yeah, fuck you, Patrick Mahomes.
Time you see an insurance company ad, it is paid for with your premium dollars.
Rodney, set up a bundle for John Hamm.
It feels good to go. Can't touch this.
The ad budget and agent commissions total across the market, it's 16.3% of your premium. That is a cost that isn't necessary at all. The health insurance industry basically doesn't pay any selling expense. They spend 10% fighting claims.
And the top 10 insurers spent $134 million on CEO pay packages in 2024, and even more on other perks.
So far, I've found 16 private jets that the top 10 property and casualty insurers own.
Nice. That's important. Got to get private jets. Stay said happy birthday to Duke. Amber said, now they know we can't protect them. Many are talking about not allowing us to have bases in their countries because they're getting bombed and we are failing to protect them. Save your money, folks. Agreed.
State Farm purchased all 4 of their jets in a 12-month period in 2023 and 2024, when they were also simultaneously telling states like California that if they didn't let them increase their prices, they would leave. Liberty Mutual owns 4 private jets, which they purchased in the last 5 years. Progressive has a private jet. And then the rest of it is profits, dividends, stock buybacks. And so this argument that they need to be able to save in the good years for the bad years, that's not what...
Make me one argument. Why would we not use our collective bargaining abilities to replace not only health insurance, but property and casualty insurance? Go, conservatives. Tell me one reason why we should keep this this shitty fucking system. Oh, wait. Not Flo. No, she's doing it for the love of the game. She doesn't do it for money. This is what's crazy. This is what sucks about like debating conservatives. And this is what sucks about conservative ideology. You don't have an argument for this because I'd be out of a job. No, you could work for the government. Read Lenin's imperialism. How about answer my question? Why not just get rid of insurance and have us all collectively pool our money together and not pay for ads, not pay for stadiums, not pay for private jets, not pay for sales reps commissions, not pay for dividends, not pay for CEOs compensation? What if we just had insurance that did just that, just paid insurance? Why not? What's the conservative argument against that? The bots aren't programmed for this one. Boss, this isn't on the list. Because it would benefit the citizens. Can't have that? Yeah, that's a good point. We can't have good things.
They're doing.
Get all state. Because mayhem is everywhere.
And I see them in the commercials. And I see that on stations all over, and that's costing millions and millions of dollars. Just one commercial, one night would probably fix
That's
our
right,
problem.
innovation and fair trade. Yeah, good point. Yeah, they're very innovative in paying the bills.
James Fannin is bishop of a church outside of Dayton, Ohio. I met him and his daughter Teresa through an organization that helps policyholders with insurance claims.
Hi, Teresa. Yes, thank you for coming.
Last spring, a powerful storm blew off part of the church's roof.
I was devastated. It looked like a
You would have to pay for fraud detection. Great news. We have a Department of Justice. We have an FBI. We have a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. We have fraud detection built into the government. So great news.
tornado had just ripped through the inside of the church, and the ceiling tiles, the insulation. So I immediately called the insurance company.
The church had insurance with State Farm, the largest P&C insurer, covering up to $2.2 million for the building and its contents.
We put our report together with pictures and videos.
The church hired Barry Deem, an insurance adjuster, to file a claim with State Farm.
But would they under this administration? I mean, this isn't going to happen under this administration. But the thing is yeah, probably, right? I don't think this would transcend political ideologies, because fraud we're talking about would be people trying to cheat the government to get the government to pay for fraudulent claims. It would behoove them to not allow fraudulent claims. What's to stop an administration like the Trump administration, who loves fraud, from getting in and abusing the system? Probably not a ton. Like they could. We have a constitution. We have separation of powers. But yeah, you bring in a president like Donald Trump who's just going to ignore the rules. I don't know. I just don't think there's that many Donald Trumps. I don't think there's that many people who are that brazen. But yeah, we'd have to put some strong protections in there. Amy said we pay 2 times the amount as the top 10 wealthiest countries and are at the bottom for outcomes and die the youngest. Talking about healthcare, health insurance.
Documented that to replace the church's pews would cost $110,000.
Fraud like USAID? No, different kind of fraud. In this case, you would be claiming losses that you didn't have. So different. I know fraud it can mean a lot of different things.
Just said we're going to pay $25,000, and they didn't put a report together. They had no pictures, and we have a complete report that says this is the damage. This is what it takes to replace it, and they just said no.
Altogether, the church estimates it still needs $590,000 to rebuild. But in a claims process that has dragged out for over a year, State Farm has only offered to pay $167,000 of that. What was your reaction when you heard that number?
Laughed hysterically because it's so sad.
In the spring, State Farm sent an ultimatum.
I got a letter from the insurance company that said, as of July 22nd, if we didn't get the external and internal church fixed and repaired, it was up to us to pay for it, that they were going to cancel our insurance. And it's like you look in the mirror and say, wait a minute, if we'd have had the money to fix it, we wouldn't have needed the insurance.
There's Ohio code that states you have so many days to respond, so many days to write a check, so many days to investigate. But nobody's holding the insurance companies accountable, and they know that.
In response,
Now, this is where the deregulation argument comes into play here, and this is why they're able to get away with all of this. Republicans have a belief system that deregulation is actually what lowers prices. Deregulation means that you also defund regulatory bodies. And so there's not enough people out there to hold feet to the fire with these insurance companies. One of the first things the Trump administration did was gut the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. A bureau set up to protect you and I against corporations like this. But the Republican ideology of deregulation creates a better environment. It doesn't always work. Sometimes deregulation works. Sometimes it doesn't. In this case, deregulation doesn't work. People are paying premiums and they're not getting what they paid for.
State Farm said it can't share specific details about any case, but that it's been working with our customer and their public adjuster to provide all benefits available under the policy. Last year, the 5 biggest home insurers didn't pay out on 44% of claims resolved. That's nearly half of all claims filed, a coin flip on whether your insurance company actually protects you.
They've decreased the quality of coverage. They've made us assume more of the risk. They've found ways to cut off the claims payments that we're counting on.
Doug Heller is a consumer advocate who's worked on insurance reform for years. He helped me understand that insurance companies actually make most of their profit from investing our premium dollars in financial markets.
Because the insurance industry sits on our money before they have to pay it out, they get to invest it. So if they can hold off on paying claims, then that's profit for them.
Sometimes it's better to think of an insurer.
Why is that allowed? Why are insurance companies allowed to invest the money people give them for insurance? What happens if what happens if you have insurance companies heavily invested and the market crashes? How the fuck is that legal? It's called deregulation. See, Wall Street comes to Washington and they say, "Hey, we don't need to have all these safeguards. People should be able to invest in stocks, in mutual funds, in bonds. I don't like that these insurance companies can't give us their money." And the insurance company is like, "Hey, we would like to, we have all this money. It just sits here. It just sits here waiting to pay out claims. What if we were allowed to risk this so we could make more money off of what the people are paying in?" And the government goes, "Wow, sounds like a win-win here. You guys are both going to write me a check?" "Yeah, we're both going to write you a check." "Terrific. You guys can now invest." And Wall Street, congratulations. You now have more money for your funds. Why can't we start our own insurance? We could. We sure could. They do have, there's like health insurance companies that are nonprofit. I think of Christian Healthcare Ministries. They're basically just a co-op or a collective.
as an investment firm that gets capital by operating an insurance business.
In 2025, P&C insurance companies made $112 billion in investment profits. That's on top of $69 billion in underwriting profits.
Warren Buffett, as the head of Berkshire.
So they make more money investing your money than they actually make from doing their job.
Hathaway, and Berkshire Hathaway is one of the largest insurers in America because they own Geico and other insurance companies. And he says things like, the insurance business is unique among big businesses in America because people give us money that we get to invest, and we don't have to give them any of those investments back. And on years in which we pay out less in claims and expenses than we take in, people are actually paying us to invest their money and keep all the returns.
The result is that
that's a good reminder there that we also are crowdfunded here, and if we could do a dollar, try and knock out that gift goal quick, fast, and in a hurry. Venmo, PayPal, Cash App are the ways to go. We are entirely crowdfunded. We don't take advertising revenue. YouTube doesn't give us much ad revenue anyways. The only way that Jen and I are able to keep our lights on is through your generosity. So if you can help us knock out that gift goal, it'd be greatly appreciated. We rely on that each and every day. So thank you guys in advance.
Insurance companies increasingly behave like investment firms, raising prices or dropping coverage as much in response to financial market conditions as real-world risks.
Their true business is actually that they're institutional investors, they're banks. I want the insurance industry to pay you interest every day they deny, delay, or underpay a claim to create a financial disincentive from keeping our money.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Find them. Find them when they drag this shit out. Because what their goal is they want to drag it out until you're desperate to take a settlement. That's built into, if any of you work at an insurance company, a P&C, and you know the people that work in claims, is that not what all of your claims are designed to do? The hoops that you have to jump through, the amount of stuff that you have to submit just to get a claim. It's meant to drag this shit out. And eventually people wind up, maybe there's a hole in their roof. They're like, shit, it's going to rain. Like, I just need to take a settlement. So they get it all done. The insurance company says, it looks like you say it's $100,000. We're going to give you 60. Take it or leave it. You're like, well, I can't take 60. It's going to be 100 to fix it. And they're like, okay, well, then let's go to court. Like, fuck, now I got to go to court. Am I going to get 60? Am I going to get 80? Am I going to get 70? Am I going to get the 100? How much is it going to cost me to pay an attorney? I have a friend of mine. He does very well. He doesn't work that much. He's an attorney for one of these big insurance companies, and that is literally his job, is to go represent the company and defend their claim payouts. It's his whole job. It's a gross job that exists. Shouldn't exist. I like him. He's a nice guy. I hate that job exists.
Kim is a candidate for insurance commissioner in California this year. In June,
guys, I got to mute real quick to take this call, but I'll be right back.
She won the state primary.
The biggest issue that I've been hearing from homeowners on the trail is canceled coverage or rising premiums. This office should demand transparency and accountability on how our premium dollars are spent. How much of it is going to CEO pay, to shareholders, to Super Bowl ads, versus actually the business that they're in.
In the US, P&C insurers are regulated almost entirely at the state level by insurance commissioners who have the power to control prices. I wanted to speak to Kim because she's campaigning on a set of policies to tackle both price gouging and insurance industry abandonment. To stop price gouging, she proposes setting a loss ratio floor, a lower limit for what a company's loss ratio can be.
We've been proposing 65 cents of every home insurance premium dollar should go back towards paying claims, and 75 cents of every auto insurance premium dollar. To give this a little bit of context, in California, it's roughly hovering around 48 cents per every dollar that we spent on premiums. So there's this huge profit margin for auto and home insurance that is largely a form of theft from the average Californian.
If you set a loss ratio floor, what that means is if the insurer overcharged you, you would get paid back. The insurer actually has to pay rebates back to all of the customers.
When insurance commissioners have tried to regulate prices more actively in the past, P&C insurers have threatened to leave states if they don't get the rates they want. That's exactly what State Farm has been doing in California for the last several years.
The insurance industry was saying that California is a market they can't survive in. And it is true. The insurance industry did have to and will continue to have to pay out huge claims for the Los Angeles fires. But between 2019 and 2024, California was one of the most profitable homeowners insurance markets in America.
Right now, we have two choices here in California. We either let them raise their rates or they exit California. And that's not a healthy marketplace. That's a hostage situation.
To address insurance industry abandonment, Kim is proposing something new, a single-payer disaster insurance policy for all Californians. It's modeled on similar programs in New Zealand, France, and Spain, which provide automatic and universal coverage against losses from natural disasters.
If you think about insurance, it was never meant to generate profit. What if California or the United States actually established a nonprofit, publicly run insurance program that actually served the original intentions of insurance, which is that it would be there to protect us. And we stewarded those dollars, and we kept the returns from our premium dollars as well.
Creating a public disaster insurance program would require support of the state legislature. And it would require money. For decades, Californians have paid premiums to private insurers. To transition to a public program, it would be crucial to make sure the money people already paid in is still used to protect them. If such a program is enacted, over time, it could give the public more control over how their premium dollars are spent.
We wouldn't have to pay out premiums and returns to shareholders and CEOs. In April of this year, Travelers Insurance, which is one of the top 5 insurers in this country, announced that they did so well in the first quarter that they had $2.2 billion in excess capital. And what did they do with that excess capital? Did they provide refunds or discounts to their premium policyholders? No, they gave 100% of this to their shareholders.
Last year, the insurance industry's policyholder surplus, the funds companies keep on hand to ensure they can pay claims, hit $1.27 trillion, an all-time high. At the same time, since 2018, insurers have dropped coverage for at least 2 million people. 1 in 7 owner-occupied homes are now uninsured, largely because Americans can't afford or can't find coverage. In July, State Farm gave Bishop Fannin an extension. The church now has until mid-September to do repairs, or State Farm will drop its coverage.
My granddaughter, she puts her hand on my shoulder and she says, Papa?
It's America. I don't understand how every member of Congress isn't up in arms fixing this right now. How many more times do I have to, and I'm going to, I'll be critical of the chat too. How many more days do we need to waste arguing about communism or socialism? How many more days do we need to spend arguing whether or not what John Ossoff said was mean to Donald Trump? Is it just going to be the progressives? Is there just 12 people in Congress right now that are willing to try and get things done for the American people? And for those of you that don't support the progressive movement and don't support the people who are running on the DSA platform, what the fuck are you supporting? You're just afraid of socialism? That's it. That's the whole thing. You're just scared of socialism? You're that fucking incompetent that if 12 people get elected to office that are members of the DSA, that the whole country is going to shit? Even though you can't attack any of these ideas. You can't beat up any of these ideas or offer any alternatives. It's literally just you live your life. You wake up in the morning and you live your life going, I'm just afraid of socialism, so I'm going to accept this dog shit sandwich. Stephen Markovich says, I live in a socialist country. It sucks dick. What socialist country do you live in? And let's compare it to America. Do you live in America? How about we tell you what it's like living in America? You think it's a pretty cool thing to spend $13,000 a year for healthcare premiums and then still have a $20,000 deductible with copays? Want to talk about all of these, every one of these countries, these socialist countries that have single payer healthcare? They're living into their early 80s. Our life expectancy is going down. We're 78. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm ignorant. That's right. Yeah, for sure, I'm ignorant. America's the greatest always, and anybody who uses facts and figures must be ignorant. Give me a fucking country then. Where'd you say, Stephen? What country were you from? Do you like 65% of your money being taken by the government? I don't care where I don't care where my money is going. I want to keep more of my money. So if I want to keep more of my money and I have to pay for property and casualty insurance and I have to pay for health insurance, then I'd rather pay more in taxes and keep more of my money. If we had single payer healthcare, you know what I wouldn't have to pay? $13,000 a year in health insurance premiums. You know what I wouldn't have to pay is a $20,000 deductible. You know what I wouldn't have to pay is copays. Yeah, I might pay an extra $8,000 a year in taxes based on my income. I'm saving $5,000 a year. And guess what else? That's on top of not paying a deductible. That's on top of not paying copays. That's on top of that. And that's also, not to mention the fact that we get to collectively bargain with Medicare for All, which drives down the cost of our prescription drugs. So even if the prescription drugs aren't covered in Medicare for All, they'll be cheaper. It's crazy. I could give a fuck. 60% of Americans are, at the end of every month, don't have any money. 100% of their money is gone at the end of every month. Would they take 65% in taxes if they still had money left over? Why wouldn't they? It's math. It's simple fucking math. I'd rather have no money than have more money but pay more in taxes. It doesn't make sense. It's just simple fucking math, which is maybe why like conservatives can't grasp it. I don't know. Would you rather pay $13,000 a year for healthcare or $8,000? $13,000 as long as they're buying jets with it. I need to be locked up for doing. Yeah, I know that's the conservative argument. You got to get locked up, man. All this math is really a fucking problem. It's real treasonous, actually, when you think about it. Kelsey, thanks for joining the dollar train. Liz as well, $1 a day for the week. Appreciate that. Some people are trying to read my lips. It's all right. You guys were never going to figure out what I was talking about. Walter and Denise, thanks for joining the dollar train. Appreciate you guys. I'll update that gift goal here in a minute. But just a reminder, we are crowdfunded. We got about an hour and a half left before the end of the live. And if you can help us knock out that gift goal, it'd be awesome.
It's going to be okay. We're going to clean it all up. And in my mind, I thought that's what we could do. We could clean it all up.
I'll pay my own way. I'm not a little liberal bum. What's the difference? You would pay your own way with Medicare for All too. If you are a person who makes good money, you're going to be paying your own way one way or the other. So why not pay less? I'd rather pay more as long as poor people don't get insurance. I would rather lose money every single month to make sure that poor people can't see a doctor. I mean, that's how stupid your argument is. Legitimately, that's how stupid it is. I'll pay my own way. Okay, cool. Cool story, bro. I'll have a way worse system as long as poor people don't get to go see a doctor. I've asked this question before and we'll ask it again. How come 0 fucking countries are copying us? How come 0 countries have decided that the best solution is private health insurance? Rory, you're here every day. Don't ask who I voted for. Respond to what I'm saying. And this is again, it just goes to show like how fucking brain dead and brain broken this country is. I'm asking for a legitimate argument of why you want to pay more for healthcare, and you're like, yeah, I bet this guy voted for Kamala. Who cares? What if I voted for a fucking shoe? Does that change my argument? What if I voted for Trump? Would it change the argument? No, it has no bearing on this argument. Why would you want to pay more for shittier coverage? Because I just don't want poor people to have any benefits at all.
But we've gotten stuck in this nightmare. And it's like there's no way to wake up. And I'm tired. I'm tired as a man of God, made to feel like that we're insignificant, that we don't matter. We pay our monthly premium just like everybody else. I'm held accountable for everything I do. And why can't everybody else be held accountable?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to...
Because conservatives exist and they are doubling down on what is a decades-long moronic policy of let's give the billionaires all the money. And at some point, it's going to work. I pay $2,500 a year, work for a better company. Yeah, but that's because your company pays for it, dumbass. What do you think your company would, let's say that your company is footing, let's say it's 25. So if we're just use average, that means law of averages, your company is paying $10,500 a year. What if that company only had to pay for your insurance $8,000 a year? What if your company saved $2,500 a year on your insurance costs? Think they could pay you more? You think, I mean, you don't want that, right? You don't want more money. You want them to have more money. So couldn't the owners of that company keep more money? There's not a good argument for anything that you're saying. Like, it literally, using your personal experience in every instance is you just saying, I have a better situation than you do in this shitty fucking system. Get a better fucking system. Get rid of profit. There's no reason anybody should be making millions of dollars for writing a check to pay for your health care that you already paid for. Just as my amputation got denied coverage, my leg was crushed in a car accident. My prosthetic was denied 4 fucking times. I've told this story a million times. My dad, stage 4 cancer, had to wait nearly 6 weeks to get treatment because they were arguing back and forth with the health insurance company. My mom was a public school teacher. She paid for the highest insurance you possibly could get through the state for 6 weeks. And the doctor said, you need to get in and get treatment tomorrow. 6 weeks later, he started treatment. He lost years off of his life. All the things that they tell you to be afraid of exist already, and they're worse. And they're like, you can't have single-payer healthcare. What if we start living longer? What if you pay less money? Literally, there's not a single argument you can make against single-payer healthcare that doesn't already exist in our system that single-payer healthcare wouldn't make better. I want to be clear too, Nathan. See you say, I don't mean to target. Not universal healthcare. Universal healthcare is controlling the healthcare system. I want single-payer health insurance, Medicare for all. I just want the government to be the insurer. I don't want them making the decisions. I don't want them controlling doctors. I don't want them owning all the hospitals on the federal level. I still I still want the idea that doctors work for themselves. But I just want the insurance to be paid for by the government. And the only reason I want the government to be the insurance company is because I want to remove all of the profit. And I think people who can't afford insurance deserve to go see a doctor. Those are the 2 reasons. It's better, it's cheaper, and it gives access to more people. And the conservative argument about that against that seems to be, I don't like the idea that poors are going to get to see a doctor. Like, if you look at everybody who has argued in the chat today, that has been the gist of their argument. Oh, I don't want the poors to be seeing doctors. I don't want to have to pay for the poors. You already do. What do you think Medicare is? What do you think Medicaid is? You're already paying for poor people to get medical care through Medicare for all. So why not have everybody pay into it, everybody be on the same plan, and then we'll disperse the risk pool and get better care? Because socialism bad, I think. Thanks, Rory, for joining the Dollar Train. Appreciate you, my friend. Oh, Rory, you weren't asking about me, I don't think. You're a fool if you think something for free. You're a fool for saying that. Like, this is the thing. This is why I'm concerned about conservatives. There's nobody saying that this would be free. It would be cheaper. If you are poor in this country, yeah, likely it's going to be free for you. If you are not poor, it is not going to be free for you. And yes, you are going to continue, like you already do now, you're going to help pay for insurance for people who can't afford to see a doctor. That exists now. It will exist in the future. It would exist in this program. It already exists. You don't get to have like some moral opposition to that when you already do it. Nobody said it's free. Nobody said it won't increase taxes. It absolutely will. But it'll be cheaper for you than having private health insurance. All of your talking points have been debunked since 2009, and you keep showing up with the same ones. You got to be better than that. And again, arguing just to argue. You're arguing for a system that is worse for you just because it's on your side. Just because your side opposes it. That's it. You don't want something new or different, even when it's better. If your side came out and they were the ones proposing it, you would do it in a second. I 100% believe that there's not a single one of you that is opposed to this that can come up and make a coherent argument. I'm 100% convinced that every last one of you is against this for one reason and one reason only, and it's because you were told to. Maybe not explicitly, but over time, you've been fed propaganda over and over and over again, and you've been led to believe that somehow everybody getting health insurance would be a bad thing. Don't forget to mention that some of the reasons the doctor fees and the hospital ER fees are so expensive is because people go in with zero insurance, so they have to hike up the price for the people that have insurance to counteract that. Agreed. If I had access to healthcare years ago, I wouldn't be broke and as chronically ill as I am now. Early international treatment could have helped me so much. I don't know if you meant international there. That seems like maybe a typo. Yeah. You want people in this country to live longer? You want there to be less chronic disease? Let everybody go see a doctor. Early detection is the number one way to avoid chronic disease. The number one way that we, whether it be heart health, cardiovascular health, early detection is the most important factor in making sure that we are not chronically ill. And the best way to have early detection is to give everybody access to go see a doctor. So you don't have to decide, oh, this month I don't have money to pay for my copay. I don't have money to pay towards my deductible because I'm living paycheck to paycheck. So you wait. It's not like things are getting easier. So now it's a year down the road. Now it's 2 years down the road. And the thing that you could have caught early now has 2 years of living inside of you, and some of that can't be undone. Just ask again. You can message JenDub1, JENNDUBB1. I'd ask one of you to come up here and offer some sort of argument against Medicare for all that makes any fucking sense at all. So it would help with addiction issues and have less people on the streets like MAGA always complains about but does nothing to fix. True. All the things that you do, almost everything you complain about would be made better with single-payer healthcare. Almost everything. Early detection isn't stopping chronic disease. Eating healthy and exercising does that. Yeah, and also early detection and having a doctor tell you what diet to eat. Yeah, again, like even then though, right? Yes, it's good advice to exercise and eat healthy. You can't force people to exercise and eat healthy. You can't do that. It's not an argument against single-payer healthcare. It's an argument for you to sit on your ass and do nothing. It's an argument for you to get out of the argument. I'd really not like to argue these points, so I'm just going to point out that we should be healthier. Yeah, no shit. No shit. We should all be healthier. Every one of us should probably eat healthier. Every one of us should probably exercise more. Every one of us should watch our health more meticulously. But you know what makes that a hell of a lot easier? If you can go see a doctor, if you can get blood work done, if you can get panels done. A lot of people don't really believe that they need to change their diet until they see their blood work. A lot of times you don't know that you've got a problem until it's too late, till all of a sudden the symptoms are there. And it's something that could have been identified years before that. No, we got to just stay with this shitty system so that we can keep voting Republican. Let's just pretend that this isn't the most sensible solution forever. Let's move on. All right. I want to talk about Oliver Larkin, who's running in Florida, and he's running on some of these ideas. Now, I don't remember if Oliver Larkin is a DSA or not, but he's DSA adjacent. And here he is with David Harris Jr. over on Newsmax. And Newsmax 2? When did Newsmax get a 2? There's 2 Newsmaxes now? I don't think he's going to be invited back here.
If you do make it to Congress, you're going to have to work with this Trump administration.
You're definitely telling all the stories from the run-up to Obamacare. No, I'm not. I don't want Obamacare. Obamacare is private health insurance. Shut up.
So can you name one significant accomplishment that President Trump has secured since returning to office for a second term?
I think it was signing the Epstein Files Transparency Act into law. I think that is something that we saw overwhelming bipartisan support for in the United States Congress. I wish
only one person voted against it. This is a great accomplishment by President Trump, signing the Epstein Transparency Files into law. It's a good point here by Oliver. Newsmax isn't hearing it, though.
That it had come about sooner, and I wish that we had the divulgence of these DOJ documents. But I do think that having accountability for the Epstein class is something that many Americans on either side of the political spectrum can agree with. And so I just want to see the follow through there. I've not necessarily seen that. The redactions of Donald Trump's name in these files, which is mentioned more than perhaps any other individual besides Jeffrey Epstein.
No, let's not go
but
there.
I do want to
That's been debunked over and over and over again. Don't try.
What's been debunked over and over and over again? There's not a single claim in the Epstein files about Donald Trump that has been debunked. There's a lot of things that are in the Epstein files that haven't been proven, but that's different than debunked.
To throw his name in there, that's been completely debunked every single time that's come up. But
it's already in there. I don't need to throw it in there.
That's definitely not one of the greatest things that President Trump has done in his second term. He's ended 8 wars. He's trying to end another one. He's bringing peace to a lot of places. So that's lower on the total.
He ended 8 wars. We all know you guys would love more taxes to send to Ukraine or lesbian dance theory classes. This is how brain dead conservatives are. We're like, hey, we should raise taxes to pay for single payer, and they're like, yeah, I bet you would love to pay for lesbian dance classes or money to Ukraine. No. We want to use it for healthcare. Yeah, I bet you do want to use it for gender studies. No, we want to use it for healthcare. You can't even engage. Like you're that far lost that like when you lose the argument, you're like, oh, I bet you'll just send it to Ukraine instead. What is DSA? Democratic Socialists of America.
Not Iran.
But I see your point in your strategy in trying to put that out there. Oliver Larkin, thank you so much for joining the Pulse tonight. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, well done by Oliver Larkin there. Meanwhile, the Republicans, Mike Johnson is he's starting to kick things into gear. Here's what the Republicans are offering. Again, the one thing you can say that Donald Trump has done well during this term, I think, is sign the Epstein Files Transparency Act. What else has he done well? He took a stake in Intel. I kind of liked that. Thought that was a good idea. What else has he done well? He hasn't ended those wars. Shut the fuck up about that forever, all of you. He didn't end those wars. Nobody gives him credit for ending those wars. What has he actually done? Here's what Mike Johnson says. Here's what we're running on. He's out there rallying the troops.
Here in the district, there's a lot of military members, veterans. When we see what's going on in Iran, what would your pitch be to voters here about that continuing and gas prices going up right now? Why should that continue?
Yeah, the Iran conflict has been the cause, of course, of gas prices going up. It's drug on. I am grateful, and I think all Americans of good sense are grateful that we have the greatest fighting force in the world, in the history of the world. Our men and women in uniform are the brave people who preserve freedom and stand on
Thanks, Pink and Bethany.
that line every single day. We're grateful for that. Because of their prowess, because we are the great superpower on the planet, we were able to take the head off the snake. I mean, Iran was the largest state sponsor of terrorism. It was an evil regime.
Can he just be specific? Like, what the fuck is he talking about? We're so powerful, we took the head off the snake. All right, let's break that down. We have a big military. It's really fucking expensive. They never pass an audit. They're bleeding us dry. Their military contractors are becoming filthy fucking rich. And we went to Iran and started a war with a country that had no intentions on hurting us, didn't have a nuclear weapon. Tell the truth, Mike. You might be glad that that our military is as strong as it is, but we didn't need to have these increased gas prices. We didn't need to have this war. All of this was avoidable.
That wanted the downfall of America and has been chanting death to America for almost 50 years. That objective was one that was carried through by...
Why do they always bring that up, that they chanted death to America? Why? Why do you think they say it every single time? Why do they bring up 50 years every single time? There's an easy answer for this. J. Sachs, you answer this one. How come every time Mike Johnson talks about Iran, he talks about they've been chanting it for 50 years and they say death to America? Got to answer this question, J. Sachs, or I have to ban you. Anybody else can answer too. Because they are great points. Sure. It's because that's their only justification. And they're admitting that there was no imminent threat, which forces you to concede that you are comfortable with starting wars with countries who say mean things. They say some people over there said that they didn't like us very much and that we should die. so we have to go to war. Tells me that you and the people that represent you are soft, scared children. If there was an imminent threat, they would mention the imminent threat. But there is no imminent threat, so they never mention the imminent threat. I'll give you guys, tell me one person in Iran. Give me a name. One person who chanted death to America. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying, who was it? How many people were chanting it? Where was this? How do you even know that this happened? Where did you see this? I don't think you did. I think you've been told that this is the case. Why does it matter if we know? You don't know that it happened, J-Sex. That's my point. You don't know that it happened. You have no idea. You've heard them say it over and over again. And I've tried to explain this to you, bud. The fact that somebody says something a lot of times doesn't make it true. You should figure out how to sort out the truth for yourself. But you don't do that, do you? You just keep hearing them say the same thing. Again, if there was a justification for the war, they wouldn't keep trotting out this, they were chanting. They've been chanting for years. They would just tell you, like, here's where the nuke was, and we went and we destroyed it. They were going to shoot it at us, and we destroyed it. But since that doesn't exist, they have to keep telling you it was about the chanting.
Every president in recent decades, and we finally had a commander-in-chief who understood their nuclear capability was almost there, and that we had to act. We did.
Oh, that would not mean imminent then, right? If they're nuclear. Now we're backtracking. The nuclear threat was almost there, so now it's not imminent. Which is a requirement. It's a constitutional requirement that there must be an imminent threat for the executive branch to target and start a war. What is it? What was the imminent threat? The imminent threat was, oh, they were going to get there someday. That's not imminent. It's not what that word means.
Now, resolving the conflict after that is what we're in the process of now. I believe ultimately that there'll be a coalition of nations, a combination of allied NATO allies and Arab states in the region. Everybody in the world has an interest in the Strait of Hormuz being open for commerce, and so
yeah, and they all want us to leave. Every country wants us to leave. Nobody wants to engage. Nobody wants to be part of this because everybody sees what MAGA cannot. That this is just Israel dragging us into Iran because they have a vendetta and a score to settle with Israel, and we're doing their bidding for them. We are the puppets. They are the puppeteers. Everybody recognizes that. There's no reason to be here, and this is what MAGA Mike and the rest of MAGA is going to go on the campaign trail and try and sell the American people on. It's okay if your prices are too high. It's okay that we haven't fixed affordability. It's okay, guys. Did you know there were people chanting death to America? Did they ever attack us? No, they did not attack us. Did they have the capability of attacking us? No, they didn't have that capability. So why did we attack them? The chanting. We don't like chanting. We're an anti-chant country. MAGA is an anti-chant movement. Don't we chant all the time? Yeah, but our chants are the good chants. Their chants are the bad time. Didn't our Secretary of Defense say kill all Muslims? Yeah, but he's justified because Muslims bad, Christians good. You're not going to. It's not a winning message. And even taking that back, like I don't care if it's a winning message or not. If it was a winning message, it would be even worse. That would mean that our country was full of dumber people than I thought. It is remarkable the low bar of information it takes for people to support murdering other people. They said some things loudly and they were chanting it. It was in rhythm. If you say things with rhythm, I don't like it.
I believe we'll be getting into a new phase of that where we can calm this down. That will hold gas prices down to planet Earth, and that will also bring down grocery prices, for example, because the transport cost of the fuel adds to that. So
yeah. So we raised all your prices, and we hope someday that Iran will do what we ask, and your prices can come back down. I'm sorry, I don't see that as a good pitch. Fox News is doing their fucking best. Fox News is now just like, you can't vote for Democrats because Cuba.
Or listen, we appreciate you coming on the show.
Amy Lynn said, Trump unfroze $24 billion to Iran and offered to set up to $300 billion of our tax money to stop this. Fact check, true. Just a reminder, guys, about an hour left. If you want to help us knock out that gift goal, that would be dope. Thank you so very much.
You know, it takes some guts to do so. So I want to say thank you and a lot of respect to you for doing it. You know, my mother-in-law fled Cuba because of the socialist communist takeover. So I know in your district, there's a lot of folks like my mother-in-law, a lot of Cubans, a lot of Venezuelans.
No, I just want to squash this. Nobody left Cuba because of communism. Not one person left Cuba because of communism. This is a fucking lie. It's an oversimplification. They didn't leave because of communism. They left because Cuba was collapsing.
Venezuelans that left socialism, that fled communism, and it kind of sounds like you want to bring it all right here to the USA and to Florida. How do you square that with a lot of those constituents in Florida that have a similar story?
I think what a lot of our constituents that have come from places like Cuba or Nicaragua or Venezuela that have seen United States foreign policy, we've had a blockade on Cuba and a trade embargo for 70, 80 years nearly. And what we've seen in that time is the repression of trade and of really with our closest trade partner. And we see a repression of political and civil rights that we actually see.
How many Cubans do I know? A lot. And even the Cubans that I know, a good friend of mine is Cuban, and his family left in the 60s. And he loves to say they fled from communism. And I ask him what communism is, and he says, I don't know. And I say, well, what was going on? And they're like, there was no money, there was no opportunity, and the government was, we felt like the government was corrupt, and so we ran. What caused that that economic decline? He'll say communism, but again, he can't define communism. He doesn't ever talk about the embargoes. You don't think the embargoes had something to do with that? Donna, I appreciate you saying that. I need you to know, and everybody else here, I am not a communist, and I'm not a socialist. And I do not wish to live in a communist or a socialist or a capitalist country. And thank God for me, none of those things exist. There aren't any countries that are communist, socialist, or capitalist. They're all mixed economies. I just want to do the right things. And I'm not somebody that's stupid enough to get distracted by labels and base my entire economic views on unproven theories like capitalism and socialism and communism. It is a silly thing to do to be afraid of those words. It is a silly thing to do to look at Karl Marx and say he got nothing right, or that what he said was 100% incorrect. It's a silly thing to do to say that like capitalism works. Where has unfettered capitalism worked? You give me a place. Let's turn this around on you. Name a place in the world where unfettered capitalism has worked. What country? Wait. Am I part of the independent media? That doesn't make sense. If people are independent media, then you can't be part of it, right? Because you're independent. Yes, I am independent. I work for myself. I work crowdfunded. Good reminder, guys. We don't take ad revenue. We don't take PAC money. Despite we've been offered before to work with some of these groups, we don't do it. We are independent, and we rely on your generosity for us to continue to pay our bills. I'm waiting for a name of a country. Where are you guys? Putting golfing terms so your buddies can understand you? Cool. None of you will, the same likelihood of you naming a communist country is as likely as you getting a hole-in-one in a 600-yard par 5. 0%. You will never get a hole-in-one on a 600-yard par 5, just like there are no communist countries. Where has anything unfettered worked? There we go, May. There we go, May. Ah, guys, a round of applause for May in the chat. Exactly, May. You've been here for like a month now, and you're finally starting to get what I'm saying. It's not about ideologies or economic theories. It's about what works and what doesn't work. Sometimes the government is the solution. Sometimes they're the problem. Sometimes a free market is a solution. Sometimes it is a problem. You have to analyze each thing individually, and it is small-minded to say socialism is the way or capitalism is the way. That's just a lazy way of thinking. And it also causes the divide that we have right now in this chat, where again, we've correctly identified that the best possible solution for us when it comes to health care or health insurance is to have Medicare for all be expanded to everybody. It's cheapest, it's the most effective, it will provide the best outcomes. The only argument against it from you guys, May, has been socialism bad, communism bad. But now here you are on the other, like finally on the other side here when I asked to name me a capitalist country, you're like, well, there aren't any. Yeah. Interesting how that works, right? Interesting how when it's flipped, you're like, oh, nuance is a thing. Yeah, nuance is a thing. I like nuance. Nobody fled Cuba because of communism. 0 people ever fled Cuba because of communism. They fled because of economic conditions. They fled because of political persecution, which could have been at the hands of the people who called themselves communists. But they did not flee communism. They fled, perhaps communists. Perhaps they were searching for economic security. Perhaps there was no economic opportunity for them. Which ironically is why we had a surge at our southern border during the last 2 years of the Trump administration and during the Biden administration. Because countries like Venezuela were destabilized and they were sanctioned into oblivion, and the people of Venezuela had a choice: leave or starve. And they showed up at our border and just oversimplified by the Republicans. They're like, they're fleeing communism. No, they weren't. They're fleeing a country with no economic mobility because they were sanctioned to death by the United States. And anybody who wanted to do business with them, we sanctioned them as well. So countries are like, let's see, do we want to work with the biggest economy in the world or whatever Venezuela's ranked in terms of like largest economy? It's way down the list. Well, of course, we got to do the right thing. We'll side with the United States. And we crippled Venezuela. And then it's got to be great to be a Republican politician. Hey, remember when we crippled their entire country because they wouldn't give us their oil? Yeah, watch this. Communism did that. MAGA. Yeah, it was communism. It wasn't us. It wasn't us. It was communism did that. They were never communist. See how that works, May? Glad we learned something, and we're on the same page now, May. I look forward to your nuance going forward.
Emanating from the Trump administration right now. We see crackdowns on freedom of speech. We see Representative Randy Fine and Laura Loomer trying to cancel our rally last night, along with corporate Democrats like State Representative Michael Gottlieb. So I think the conditions that a lot of people flee places like Cuba, coming to America looking for a better life, it's actually quite scary to see a Republican administration that's going after our freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And we're fighting for the American dream.
Hey, what did you say? I've had friends in South Florida, and every one of them said to me they fled communism. I mean, it's got to be pretty damn bad before you get on a damn boat. Yeah, they can say whatever they want, dude. They are allowed to say that they fled communism. That doesn't mean that they did. They might think they fled communism. They didn't. It's not what happened in Cuba. It was an embargo. They are a tiny fucking country, very close enough that you can get in a raft and float to the United States of America and have like a reasonable expectation that you will live. And this massive country with the world's strongest military, I was going to say greatest, but we're led by fucking dipshits now, so I don't know if we can say that. But maybe we have the best equipment or the most equipment or the biggest equipment, whatever you want to call it. We sanctioned them to death because they sided with the USSR and with Russia, and they liked the ideas of Karl Marx. They liked the ideas of communism. And because we didn't want any of that ideology near us, we sanctioned them to death. And then the government didn't have to crack down, I guess. They could have capitulated. That's always the argument for MAGA. They should have just done what we told them to, and then we wouldn't have ruined their country. Or let them do what the fuck they want because it's their country. No, we can't do that. Communism's scary. There are 0 instances of countries that you point to that you say communism failed in those countries that wasn't directly actually impacted by sanctions from the United States. We cripple their countries. It's us. We do that. And we do that and we talk about communism. You know why? Because there's rich people in this country who want to win capitalism. They want to see their bank accounts be filled with endless trunks of money. And they don't like the idea that maybe, just maybe, the people who made them rich, the people who go to work every single day and work 9 to 5 and work overtime, the people who developed the products, the people who invented the products, the people who manufactured the products, the people who ran customer service, the people that ran payroll, the people that ran HR, the people that ran all the infrastructure of the company, the people that built out the buildings that they work in, the people who do the training, the people who do the managing. Heaven forbid they share in the profits, because then that one person at the top can't keep all the money. So what do? They point to places like Cuba and Venezuela and go, look what happens if you take money from us. The whole country falls apart if you take money from the rich people. Then ironically turn around and be like, what happened in these communist countries? The rich people wound up with all the money. Oh, so exactly what you want? That the rich people get all the money? Yeah, it's exactly the same thing, but it only doesn't work if it's communism. Why doesn't it work with communism? Well, because America comes in and sanctions the fuck out of them, and they embargo the fuck out of them, and then they can't do trade with any other nation. Specifically, we love to target countries like Venezuela who rely on oil, and we want their oil, and we think our oil companies should share in those profits. So we can't let them keep their own oil money, right? We have to embargo the fuck out of them and ruin their country. You want to give workers all the money to make your own shit? The workers do make the shit. Who's the billionaire that made something? Point to him. Who's the billionaire that created a technology, that developed the technology? Who was it? Did Bill Gates develop the technology that made him rich? No. Bill Gates hasn't done any real work in developing technology in decades. Did Elon? No, he bought those companies. They were already in existence. He bought existing technologies, and then he relied heavily on the government giving him hundreds of billions of dollars in taxpayer-funded subsidies so that he could become the world's first trillionaire for a minute. Who's this billionaire that is making products? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs didn't... famously, Steve Jobs did not build what was the first one? Was it Apple One? Famously, it was Steve Wozniak and a crew of developers. Famously, Steve Jobs cut out people who actually developed Apple One and didn't give them stock because he recognized that in the future they were going to have to bring in more talented developers and more talented coders. And how would it look if coders that weren't nearly as talented as the people they brought in owned a big share of the company? So famously, he cut people out of the agreements that he had made with them. No, Steve Jobs didn't make that product. Give me another one. Yeah, how about Zuckerberg? Zuckerberg didn't make Facebook. How many people built out Facebook? When did Facebook get good? After Zuckerberg hired a bunch of coders, right? Did he build it? No. Did he have the idea? Sure. He's one of those. I mean, he's like Bill Gates, though. The initial idea he had, if we were still running on Zuckerberg's initial idea, he would be worth dick. Bill Gates would be worth dick. None of them became billionaires off of the backs of their own work. It was off of everybody else's labor. Every single one of them. And they tell you that the worst thing possible is that the people who actually did the work, who actually made these companies successful, should not share in the profits, because that all needs to go to the investors. That needs to go to people like Peter Thiel. Most of the richest people in this country did nothing but invest. Mike Lazaridis, I don't know who that is. I hope we get one. What did Mark Lazaridis do? Did I say that name right? There's got to be some billionaire who made their own product. I mean, a Cuban kind of did. But then same thing, in order for them to become a billion-dollar company, they had to rely on really talented coders and developers. Mike, did I write Mark? Mike, he is a Canadian entrepreneur who co-founded Research in Motion, later BlackBerry, and Doug. Oh, is that the dude that, no, that can't be him. Looking, All right, maybe I don't. I've seen that movie. I don't remember. Is he the one that's paid by the dude or played by the guy with like the bandana? That's a good point. Zuckerberg did steal the idea, not necessarily from another company, but from allegedly from the Winklevoss twins. You can't invest unless you have money you can afford to lose. Yeah, that's true. It's true. And a lot of these people got their money that they can't afford or that they can afford to lose from their parents. But Jeff Bezos was kept afloat forever because his parents had money. Money is so readily available. Why are you all pocket watching? We're not pocket watching, dummy. That's like saying water is readily available. Why would we fix the hole in the dam? Look how much water there is. Let's not fix the system. The problem with our system is that, and this is very, I don't know if I could do this in a more simple way. The more money we print, the less valuable each dollar is. So the more money in circulation, the less value that whatever money you have carries. So there's different ways to print money. You can actually legitimately just like print the money. You can go down to the mint, you can print money or coins and put that into circulation, and that devalues the currency unless we're taking out the same amount of currency. And we do that, right? We have a basic idea of how much currency is going to be lost or destroyed each year, and we replace that. So that's one way to print money. Another way to print money is telling banks, hey, you can lend each other 20x what you actually have on your balance sheets. Okay. You've effectively created money, right? Money that you don't have. That's what caused the 2008 financial collapse, is people over leveraging the amount of money they were loaning and the amount of money that they were gambling. And when it came time to pay the people who had wagered against the banks were like, ah, shit, we don't have any money. Why don't you have any money? Well, because we paid Washington to deregulate so that we could lend out 20x what we actually could cover. Oh, was that a good idea? No, it wasn't a good idea. Devalues the currency. If we had one trillionaire, that devalues the currency. If we have 30 trillionaires, that really devalues the currency. The gap in wealth makes you less wealthy because of that gap. Because again, most of these people aren't liquid. Most of them don't have, like Elon never had $1 trillion in the bank. He has wealth. And you might say he can't liquidate that wealth. He can't spend that wealth. Fine, but it still devalues your wealth. It makes your wealth less. That's simple economics, right? The more currency that you have available, the less valuable each individual piece of currency is. And in this digital age, currency is either it can be a physical representation or it can literally be code. Now it can be on the blockchain. Now it can be Bitcoin. When Bitcoin went from $1 to $80,000 per Bitcoin, did that make your dollar worth less? Potentially, because it created all this extra wealth. I should read Modern Money Mechanics. I might have read that. Modern Money Mechanics. I don't know if I've read that or not. Who wrote that? Is this show for children? Kind of. We try and speak to MAGA, so it sounds like it's for children sometimes.
So, Oliver, I'm going to let the rest of the panel here ask you some questions. I'm not going to filibuster the whole time, but I do have to say, when my mother-in-law and so many others fled Cuba or Venezuela, they didn't flee because of Donald Trump. They fled because of socialism and communism and that form of economic governance that you're trying to bring here. So I just wanted to correct the record for that, because blaming that on Trump is kind of rich. But
I wanted to see, by the way, when I forgot to check this. I wanted to see when his parents. So she is married to JP Arencibia. I wanted to see when his parents came to the United States. I don't even know if that story is true or not. I'm looking here. He was born in Florida. So her husband was American born in 1986. Let's see where his parents were born. Okay. Mother was born in Cuba. Oh, yeah. Her grandparents immigrated to Cuba to the United States when her mother, her mom was 2. I don't know. I have the sneaking suspicion mom didn't know why they immigrated to the United States. All right. That checks out. His mom told him she fled socialism. She was two. She was two. And it wasn't socialism. It was, again, probably either political persecution or economic mobility that caused them to leave Cuba. Not socialism or communism. And I'm glad. I feel like the chat got a little smarter. I appreciate MAGA, you guys actually engaging. Thank you. Appreciate that, because I was getting tired of just seeing communism over and over again. So you don't talk to your parents? I talk to my parents. I don't know what that I don't know what that has to do with anything. Appreciate that though. Here's Hannity. Hannity has been losing it lately, and Hannity just his biggest problem is that he knows he's supposed to scare you about socialism and communism. He doesn't take any time to understand what those words mean or what these democratic socialists are proposing in America. And the biggest problem that all these folks like Sean Hannity are going to have is that you can only scare Republicans with socialism. Other people aren't scared of the word socialism, and the reason that these candidates are winning aren't because they are labeled as democratic socialists. It's because of their ideas. So you can label them as democratic socialists, but the people voting for them are like, I didn't really vote for them because they're democratic socialists. I voted for them because of their ideas.
The country would be unrecognizable if you, as an American voter, if you don't take this seriously in 78 days.
Let me ask you a question.
The America that you grew up in, it will cease to exist. Telling you, most important midterm in your life, everything's on the line. If the socialists get their way, they will eliminate the Senate, no longer allow you to choose the president. They will pack the courts.
Sounds good.
Abolish ICE, abolish borders and deportation. Defund.
Not abolish borders. I don't know. Like, you notice how he says abolish borders? Like, look what he's got here. There's a lot of things he added here that aren't part of the DSA platform. You can see eliminate the U.S. Senate. I'm fine with that. I like that. Congress chooses the executive and judiciary. I'm fine with that. I would much rather just see the president chosen by popular vote, though. That wouldn't be my choice. But either one of those is fine. Amnesty for immigrants. I think amnesty is a brilliant idea. Defunding the Department of War, super smart. Ending all deportations. I probably don't agree with that, honestly. I think that there are people in this country that we don't need here, that we don't want here. So I'm not in favor of ending all deportations. And maybe that's what he thinks is like eliminating borders. I do think you have to have borders. Eliminate cash bail, fine with that. Establish a wealth tax, absolutely. And passage of a Green New Deal, great. None of these are scary. Voting socialist is dumb, which is why you literally can't vote for socialists in this country. There aren't any socialists running.
Borders and deportation. Defund the Department of War. Genius. Eliminate cash bail, abolish the police and prisons, institute a wealth tax and a cradle to grave, womb to tomb, even government guaranteed healthy food. And on top of that, they'll take over every corporation. The DSA.
Now, those things aren't involved. Cradle to or womb to tomb, food for everybody, and take over every corporation. That's not in the platform. I'm not opposed to those things if you can make sense of how to do it. But those aren't in the platform. That's weird fear mongering. Imagine if you were guaranteed food the rest of your life. Imagine if giant corporations were owned by the workers. What would we do? That would be fine. Everybody would be fine. Everybody, if our government could guarantee healthy food for life, that's great. How is that fear mongering? Why are you fear mongering with, hey guys, you might have access to healthy food? Oh, no. Host literally said no socialist running. Yep, name the socialist that's running. Go ahead. I know some democratic socialists, which is different than a socialist. They should just use the right words. No communists, no socialists. There's democratic socialists. Why do you think they have to use the wrong words? Why don't they correctly say democratic socialists? Because they're trying to scare you. And it's working on some of you.
The country would be unrecognizable if you, as an American voter, if you don't take this seriously in 78 days, the America that you grew.
All right. He's very upset. He's trying to scare people. I just don't think, like, who's going to be scared by that outside of Republicans? Tallarico, meanwhile, is out here just absolutely dominating Texas. Tallarico's a fucking great politician. He's really good at this. Some of you may not like him. Some of you may like him. I don't really, for these purposes, it doesn't matter to me. He's a great politician, and he's running a damn near perfect race in Texas. And that's what you need in Texas for a senator from the Democratic Party to win. You have to run a perfect race, and you have to run against an absolute corrupt piece of shit. And fortunately for Tallarico, currently he's doing both of those things.
Abilene, Texas, yesterday, and I met with community members, Democrats, independents, and Republicans, who are deeply concerned about the impact.
Guy said, DNC Warrior said, political death to the MAGA movement. I just want to be careful there. He's not advocating that anybody be hurt. He just wants the MAGA movement to go away. I agree with that.
Impact of these giant data centers on their community. And this is happening across the state of Texas. Texas has become the epicenter of this data center fight. And I've said very clearly that if these data centers can't meet the demands of the people who live in these communities, they shouldn't be built. So I don't know if you call that a moratorium or a pause or a ban, but it's pretty simple. If these data centers can't pay for their own energy, if they can't recycle their water and fund the water.
I forgot white Christian male as well. That's why he's doing really well. Yeah, it doesn't. It sure as shit doesn't hurt. Sure as shit doesn't hurt. People in Texas are going to be more comfortable voting for a Democratic, some people, for a Democratic politician who is white, who is male, and who talks about Jesus. That is beneficial. We shouldn't pretend that it's not. Bethany said, $5 train, chug, chug, choo, choo. Stacy said, thank you for staying independent. You're appreciated. And Leah said, as always, good show. Thanks. Just a reminder, guys, that is our grift goal in the upper left corner. You want to piss off a Republican, help us accomplish our grift goals, which you can do by using Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, and on TikTok. Thank you guys so very much. Johnny, La Raleigh, Buffany, Jen, Plants on the Spectrum, and Dolphin, rounding out the top 6.
Infrastructure necessary to operate these facilities. If they can't produce good paying union jobs, if they can't get the consent of the people who live in these communities, then they shouldn't be built, period, full stop. And
how hard is that? I mean, it's crazy how simple sometimes politics can be. Data centers should have to pay for their own energy. They should have to generate their own energy. They should have to figure out a way to get their own water. They should figure out a way to recycle their own water. And if they can't, then we shouldn't have to pay for that. That's the most simple, popular take you could have. What's the opposite of that? It's Ken Paxton going out there like, hey guys, we really, these billionaires, they really are what's keeping us afloat. We got to give them tax breaks. I missed this earlier. Dean, thank you so much. Big W for Dean in the chat. That's huge, man. Sent 20 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Dean. That was incredibly kind, sweet, and everybody tell Dean great job in the chat. Thanks, Dean, whichever platform you're on. Looks like that was on Twitch. Thank you so much.
And I think that is the kind of clear stance that Texans are looking for on this issue. Yes, if they're done right, and if these projects are developed in partnership with communities, it can mean good paying jobs. It can mean economic growth, and those are good things that we should welcome. But again, it has to be a two-way street. The communities have to provide input, have to make demands, and then those demands have to be met if these data centers are going to be built. And to your last question, we know that Attorney General Paxton has taken nearly $500,000 from the data center industry. And so it's no wonder that he has refused to help Texans, like Texans in Hood County, that asked for his assistance in blocking data center construction in their community. It's no wonder he hasn't spoken out on this issue, because he is bought and paid for by these big data center companies. We need a senator who's going to fight for Texans, who's going to fight for our interests, not fight for the interests of special interests and corporate mega donors.
All right. I'll respond to that, William said, because once you start owning your own business and you become independent, let's scroll down. Where is it? And become successful. Currently, you're going to be penalized by these people for being successful. That doesn't make sense. I mean, I think that's fucking stupid, for the record. I did own my own company, and I didn't start that company. I've owned a couple of my own companies. Some of them I started, but the one that got me started and got me some capital of my own that I could invest in my own was a company that was started by my friend and one other guy. And years later, I worked for them at some point. I left. I came back years later, and they gave me ownership in the company. So then I owned part of the company. They did that regularly. Like if you stayed with the company and you were loyal, you would get some ownership in the company. I wound up getting some money out of that when we sold the company, and I started other companies, which I also sold. I was never punished for owning the company. You don't get punished by by owning a company. You make all of your money as an owner of the company. I can tell you that I worked just legitimately. I worked significantly harder before I was an owner. Once I was an owner, there was a lot of other stuff that just really isn't that hard of work. Like a lot of meetings, a lot of sitting around. And the people that made our company work were the people that were there 9 to 5 every single day, and we couldn't do it without them. And we didn't pay ourselves a ton of money. We tried very hard to pay people that worked for us money, and we tried to help them or make sure they had increases each year. And when the company did well, they did well. But this again, it's just fear-mongering bullshit. It's absolute fear-mongering bullshit. Nobody's being penalized for being successful. Name, like, who in this country, William, name a person that has been penalized for being successful. Name one. What do you mean penalized? That you have to pay taxes? In this country, if you're paying, what's the cap on Social Security? Is it 125? In this country, if you make $125 or $1,000, somebody can give me the real cap. It's somewhere around $125,000. If you pay into Social Security up to $125,000, then if you make $500,000, you no longer have to pay into Social Security on every dollar over 125. It's a little higher now, 185. Thank you. Whatever it is, it's called 185. Once you hit that threshold, you don't have to pay anymore. You benefit. You are rewarded for making more money. If you look at the actual tax rate that billionaires pay, yes, they pay a majority of our taxes. They pay a lower percentage. It is like, you have to be an absolute fucking idiot to think that the billionaires and the wealthy in this country are being screwed because they pay the overwhelming majority of taxes. They pay a lower percentage than most people, and they still pay a majority of the taxes. What does that mean? It means that they benefit off of everybody's labor more than people that do the labor. It's 184,500. Thank you. Good. This is the smartest chat on the fucking internet. That's why I love this chat. When Elon Musk is paying 1% of his income for taxes, and then it's like, well, he paid $500 million. Cool. But what should he have paid? Percentage, why we want to make it equal. How come if they're paying taxes, it's not like we don't make them pay equal taxes? But we're okay with them having a lion's share of the money. The game's entirely rigged for them. All you have to do is look at COVID. When the whole country shut down and we started sending out unemployment money and we sent out those COVID checks, where did that money wind up? It wound up in the pockets of rich corporations. The money went straight fucking up, and it didn't trickle down. You know how we know that? Because we had to do COVID stimulus number 2. It didn't trickle down. It stayed there. And then at some point we said, people got to go back to work. We got to put them in conditions that are unsafe. They've got to get back to work because we can't afford to keep paying for everybody to not go to work. Meanwhile, the corporations are making record fucking profits. Did they share with their employees? Did they give profit sharing? No. Did they just massively increase their wealth? Yeah. And what did they do to the small mom and pops and medium-sized businesses that shut down during COVID and never recovered? They picked up their customer base. In some cases, they bought them out. In some cases, they just waited until they went under. But they make all the money. In this country, if you start a business today, the biggest threat to your business is a corporation who figures out that they can do what you do at a fraction of the cost, or even just slightly less than you, or they can advertise better than you. That's the biggest threat to starting any business in this country right now, is that somebody with more money can use their leverage to shut you down. And yet somehow the Republicans and these massive corporations have convinced you to go on the internet and run interference for them and bootlick for them and be like, they're actually the ones that are making everything work. They're not. They're the reason that we're in this mess. Tax them appropriately. I don't understand why anybody, if we have people who work and cannot afford a home, if we have people who work and cannot afford rent and they work full time, and then we also have people who can go to the outer space for fun, then we've got a fucked system. That's not a good system. It's not a good outcome. It's not a sign of a healthy system. And I would really think about it if I was one of you people who showed up every single day to bootlick for these people. What are you bootlicking for? For a shitty system? I hate to do this over and over again, but like you are the Cleveland Browns of politics. You just show up and root for like the worst possible outcome every year. Let's be Browns fans again. Imagine if you could just pick your team every year. You didn't have like these loyalties and you said, this is the year it's going to be the Browns. That's you. This is the year that trickle-down economics is going to work. This is the year. It wasn't 1982 or 83 or 84 or 85 or 86 or 87 or 88 or 89 or 90. It wasn't any of the 2000s. It wasn't any of the 2010s. It wasn't any of the 2020s. This year, it's coming year 2027. That's going to be the year that finally trickle-down economics is going to work, and I'm going to prove all you haters wrong. That's crazy. You could pick a hospital team like the 49ers. Fuck you. Sorry, Meghead. I didn't mean that. I'm sensitive about the 49ers. All right. Moving on here.
I was.
All right. Dolphin, I read that. I don't know what to tell you. I opened up TikTok. It probably pulled up on your live. I didn't watch any lives yesterday. I might have scrolled by. Don't take offense to it. Very rarely am I going to stay in a live unless I want to debate somebody. So if you're not in a live where I want to debate somebody, there's almost no chance I'm going to stay there. So I love you and thank you for all of your support, but that's probably what happened yesterday. All right. This is his name Mike? Might be Jason. Yeah, Mike LaRosa. He was worked for the Biden administration. He was one of Biden's aides, and he went on C-SPAN. And I don't know what his problem is. He's going after El Said, who is not a democratic socialist. And I can just only assume that he's one of those corporatist Dems. I don't know much about him, but he gets absolutely ripped by this caller. And all Democrats who say shit like this should be absolutely ripped by the voters.
What kind of a Democratic strategist are you? I mean, you come on a national show and you say that a must-win state like Michigan has an unfit candidate in El Said for Senate. And I can see you saying that maybe in the run-up. You know, I didn't vote for Said. I voted for Stevens. And it's okay. You could have promoted her as well. But now that we're down to the general, and are you trying to get Democrats not to vote for him? You can have your own personal views, which is fine, if you don't like El Said and others. But as a Democratic strategist coming on a national program, I think that's totally unacceptable. And I think that you're
Syed, not Said, my bad.
Doing a disservice. What do you say about
Stanley,
that?
before we talk to Michael, you said you did not vote for Abdul El Said. Will you support him in the general election?
Yes, I most certainly will, which is the reason I'm calling.
Yeah. You lost. This caller lost, didn't get their candidate, voted for the next best candidate. That's kind of how America should work. Rory said, because Dean gave me. Thank you, Rory.
I'm calling on the Democratic line. He is not DSA. People try to put him off as DSA. He says he's not DSA. The DSA did not endorse him. And even if he was, I don't understand Michael coming on and doing that. Yeah,
great. Let's get an answer from Michael LaRosa.
Well, I've never supported a Republican in my life, for the Senate, for the White House, for Congress. And I don't live in Michigan, so, I mean, my opinion really doesn't matter that much. But I could never support El Sayed for a couple of reasons. One.
Now, I promise you're not ready for these reasons. Hey, Nate, you're not going to come in and change the rules. We use Discord for calls. If you are too stupid or too unwilling to use Discord to come up here and talk to me, then don't worry about it. There's no way I'm giving you my phone number, dummy. Why in the goddamn would I give out my phone number to you?
There's certain things that do transcend politics.
Like what?
Transcend parties.
Like what?
And that's okay. That's what I was saying. Vote blue no matter who. The problem with that is who still matters. At least it matters to me.
Okay.
And I just come from a time when I watched people jumping out of windows on 9/11.
Same.
70 miles.
Raise your hand if you remember 9/11, if you were alive for that.
From when the towers were falling and burning for 3 months. We could smell it from where I was from in Pennsylvania because of how the wind blew. it's personal to me, and 25 years later, somebody who can't stand up to his friends online, on streamers. I don't even know who these people are, but if you're too...
You can't vote for El Sayed because Hassan Piker once said America deserved 9/11, like 8 years ago. I don't know, it was somewhere around there. And the next day, he apologized. He's already apologized for this, literally within 24 hours. Respectfully, Michael La Rosa, get all the way fucked, you bitch.
I could never vote for this man because he campaigned with somebody who said something out of pocket and apologized the next day 8 years ago. He's too cowardly to call out this man's statement from 8 years ago that he's already apologized for 1,000,000 fucking times. Just say he's Muslim, bitch. Just say he's Muslim. We know what you're saying, You expect El Sayed to do something about what Hassan said 8 years ago. You can't support him because he hasn't made it a central tenet of his campaign to rebuke something that fucking Hassan said 8 years ago. Who the fuck does this guy think I hope he never gets another fucking job ever. I don't care if you're offended by that. I don't care. Take it up with Hassan. Don't vote for Hassan. Don't watch his stream. You smarmy little bitch. Well, I would never vote for somebody who won't take time out of his day every single day to discredit Hassan.
What the fuck? What the fuck has happened to this country? This is why people hate Democrats. They're so goddamn soft. What is this? What kind of pearl clutching is this? He apologized already. For Christ's sakes. And for the record, I don't agree that America deserved 9/11, but if he would have worded it just slightly different and said America's actions led to 9/11, there would be no controversy here. Did we work with bin Laden, and then did we go back and burn him and stab him in the back? Yeah. Did we do that all over the Middle East? Yeah. Did that lead to some retaliation? Yeah. Did we deserve it? I wouldn't say that. But why is it that we're allowed to just go like stab people in the back, fuck them over, get their friends and families murdered, or in some cases murder their friends and family, and then when they react, we're like, I can't believe that they even did those things. Yeah, like I get why people were mad at America. And just like I don't think when we're mad at other countries that we should go into those other countries and murder them. And I don't think they should come to our country and murder us. I'm anti-murder. Especially when it's about a difference of opinions. I don't like any of that. But 8 years later, you refuse to vote for a Democrat who's not even a Democratic socialist because a guy that campaigned for him said something you didn't like 8 years ago. That is some quality bitch shit. And this is why like we don't fuck with Democrats. This is why the Biden administration was so fucking cowardly when it came to Israel. Now, they look tougher than Trump because they didn't just bend over and take it like Trump. They didn't just follow blindly everything that Netanyahu said. So they're a little better, but good Lord, were they cowardly. What Hassan said, I'm sure, like, hurts a lot of people. And I'm sure that people that lost loved ones on 9/11 and in the subsequent wars, I bet that hits differently than it hits me, right? Because what happened to me is I saw it happen on TV. That's it. That was the extent of the impact it had on me. So I'm not sitting here trying to pretend that there was some massive impact on my life that I can never forgive. And if you lost somebody in 9/11, I think that there's like, I'm going to give grace saying like, I'll never forgive Hassan. Fine. Fine, don't forgive Hassan. Don't watch his stream. But for the love of God, you're not going to vote for the better candidate because a guy that he campaigned with one time said something you didn't like. Jesus.
Too cowardly and too weak to stand up to somebody who justifies terrorism, who justifies 9/11,
Look, first of all, what are your eyes doing, brother? He apologized the next fucking day. This is fake outrage. He is not this upset about this. He really isn't. I am left, honestly, and this is, so you guys can't, Republicans, you can't even get mad at me for this because I'm calling out a Democrat here, so you're welcome.
I can't come up with any other solution or explanation for this other than Islamophobia. Exactly, Yosem has to be a Zionist. There's just no fucking way he's this upset about something Hassan said and apologized for that he said tongue-in-cheek like eight years ago. There's no fucking way, unless he's being paid to be this upset.
It's personal to me, and 25 years later, somebody who can't stand up to his friends online, on streamers. I don't even know who these people are, but if you're too cowardly and too weak to stand up to somebody who justifies terrorism, who justifies 9/11, who justifies the suffering.
I like that. This is why your party is imploding. This behavior has chased out normal people. This is what your whole fucking party sounds. What are you talking about? This is every fucking Republican. If I didn't tell you that this guy was a Democratic strategist, every person, there's 1,100 people on YouTube, I don't know how many from other platforms, every person in this room would have been like, that guy's a fucking Republican. The only reason you know he's a Democrat is I told you. What do you mean? This is your whole party. How are you criticizing this? This is the talking point directly from your party. This is why you guys are losing. Have some principles, for the love of God.
Of people, all those people did was show up for work that day or showed up on an airplane. And this guy doesn't have it in him to say it's wrong to say that or to stand up to his friends. The test of leadership is not standing up to.
I'm going to guess that he did say something. I'll let this play out, but I'm going to guess that he actually
the other
addressed
side.
this.
That's easy to do. Standing up to your friends, and he's too much of a coward to do it.
I applaud Michael for just being transparent and open about it and saying what a lot of people feel.
Well, Bushi to being honest about that. Yeah, that was some bitch shit. Okay, he said. He said that what Hassan said about America deserving 9/11 was a dumb statement and said America did not deserve the attacks. So he's too cowardly to address. Sounds like he addressed it. How many times does how many times does Al Sayed need to address it? He has to do it every time in order for in order for Michael, whatever the fuck his name was, La Rosa, to be happy. He has to say it every single day. He has to start every single campaign speech with Hassan Piker was wrong. That sucks. I hope that guy never gets a job again. He's gonna have to go. He's gonna have to switch parties. Or just go work for John Fetterman. I want to show you Rick Scott, and this is my favorite piece of fear mongering of the day. And I wish it was true. I actually wish what Rick Scott was saying here was true and wasn't absolutely fucking ridiculous. But Rick Scott, who we always have to remind you, is one of the biggest fraudsters in the history of this country. And if you are a Republican and you have ever said a goddamn word about California or Minnesota and fraud, and you don't immediately criticize Rick Scott every time you see him, then we're not going to take you seriously, because he committed the largest Medicare fraud in history at the time. And then after that, Floridians are like, he should be governor. And then they're like, he should be our senator.
If a socialist beats Moskowitz, Hakeem Jeffries has a real problem, doesn't he?
Oh, no, I don't think it matters. If you look at what Jeffries and Schumer are doing, they'll say something. But if you look at their votes, look at how they act. I mean, they don't want to fund ICE. Not one Democrat in the Senate voted to fund ICE. They never pushed back on Biden's open borders. I mean,
well, yeah, okay. I like I do think Democrats voted to fund ICE many times. There's no such thing. There was never anything even remotely close to open borders. That wasn't a real thing. So that's why they didn't push back on that, because it's made up.
Never push back on people that are anti-Semitic. They're all
consistently push back on anti-Semitism. Chuck Schumer incorrectly identifies anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism in the same way that Republicans do. I can't believe he's using Chuck Schumer as an example here. Chuck Schumer is as Zionist as they get. He is the guy that every time you criticize Israel, he's like, that's anti-Semitic.
All in for higher taxes. So if you look at it, it doesn't really matter. Schumer and Jeffries work for Hassan Piker, AOC, and Mandami.
That's right. Akeem the Dream Jeffries and Chuck Schumer work for AOC, Hassan Piker and Mamdani. That's what they're rolling with now.
If you vote for Democrats, you're voting for Hassan Piker. We really mean it.
Can you imagine being Hassan watching this? Like, God damn, I didn't know I had that kind of leverage. I'll take it, but include me, would you, Rick? What do I got to do to get on? What do I got to do to get that type of influence?
Piker wants me murdered and all the capitalists murdered. They never say anything.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's what I love about Hassan Piker's show is that he starts every day saying Rick Scott and all the capitalists have to be unalived. TikTok friendly language. Or what the fuck are your representatives even talking about? What are they talking about? They have lost their fucking minds.
Anything at all. They allow their candidates to campaign with them. They say nothing at all against Hassan Piker.
I believe it's.
They literally all have condemned what Hassan. Who hasn't condemned Hassan's comments on 9/11? I don't know anybody he's campaigned with who hasn't condemned those.
A heavily Jewish district. So it is unlikely that Moskowitz will lose. Is that accurate?
Oh, I assume Moskowitz has been there in that.
I can't bear your constant eating gasoline. Piker is a danger to Americans. How? What's he doing to you? Let's get you to a safe place. How can we protect you from Hassan Piker? Please let us know. I'm very concerned about you. Please tell us what we can do. Do you need police protection? You need to change your identity? Sounds like he's really affecting your life.
He was in the House before. I assume he's going to win. But just remember, whoever wins that seat, they're going to vote the way Piker tells them to vote. That's how they're running. They're all running. They all support, the platform of the Democrat Socialists because they're scared to death of them.
Okay. Piker is a horrible
influence. Why? Why is he a horrible influence? Are any of you going to answer this? What's he doing that's so horrible? I think he advocates for some pretty important stuff. I think the easiest thing for Hassan to do is to sit there and stream 8 hours a day and make millions of dollars. He's going out and he's using his platform for something that he advocates for. I don't know a ton about Hassan. I've never been I haven't watched a lot of Hassan like most of you. He was on my radar, but wasn't part of my daily intake until Republicans started freaking out about him. And now you guys all think he's the fucking boogeyman. We've abandoned George Soros and it's Hassan Piker now. It's just some dude that was on Young Turks, became a streamer. And for the record, he's fine. I think that Hassan is a decent communicator. I think it goes a long way that he's incredibly handsome. I think that helps him a lot with his marketability. He's also obviously a hard worker. He obviously does a good job networking. I don't think anybody thinks Hassan is like the thought leader, though. I've never really looked at Hassan as some brilliant intellectual. I think he's a commentator and he's influential and he's entertaining. And I applaud anybody who takes their platform and then does something that they believe in. The stuff that he's fighting for, he would pay more in taxes. I don't know what benefit Hassan would personally get from all of this. He would pay more in taxes. What's the benefit here? Yeah, he is intelligent. I'm not saying he's not intelligent. I'm just saying, I don't think he's I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. I think that there are people who are really unique minds and thought leaders, and I think those people come around every once in a while. I don't think I'm one of those people. I don't think Hassan is. I think there's very few of those. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Hassan, but holy shit, you guys are afraid of Hassan Piker. I'm sorry. If he just kissed you, if he just took you in a back room and you guys have a conversation, he'll kiss you for 3 or 4 minutes. Would you let it go? You just got to touch him a little bit. Would that make you feel better? Bear said, stay cool. Thanks. Jamie said, terrific Tuesday to all. Thank you. Lisa said, hey, just doing my best to support. Thank you. Jack sent the Antifa donations or dues. Appreciate that. Brownie said, my first dono, love you and miss Breeze messages. That's a deep track. Thank you. Thank you for your first donation. I appreciate that. I do not miss those messages, for the record. If you're out there, Bree, please don't figure out what my number is. Dolph said, no offense taken. I love that. Appreciate it. Did I miss any here? Don't think so. Okay. As someone who, my lady Hernandez said, as someone who lived in New York City during 9/11, I'm tired of them using it as justification for being Islamophobic. Yeah. Peter said, keep calling out assholes. Thank you. Yeah. That's all that. That's all that is. That's just like straight Islamophobia or Zionism, which is Islamophobia. I wanted to show you guys this. This is from Election Truth Alliance. They put this out. Big W Danielle for sending this to me. I showed you guys yesterday their plan for helping to combat election interference, and here is part one. If you're not following them, you can go to their Substack here. You can subscribe. I'm not signed in, so I'm not gonna. I am subscribed, but I forgot to sign in there. And they're gonna do this. I think in 7 different parts, I think maybe daily, but this is the first installment of a plain language resource aimed at debunking U.S. election myths. We've chosen to post this installment as part 1 so we can share it with the public quickly while the remainder of the document is reviewed and refined further. The installments will be posted here first on our Substack and will then be compiled into one resource posted on the ETA website. Part 1 contains myths and responding realities categories under 2 broad themes. Election machinery and it can't happen here. First on election machinery, and this is where we're going to lose some of you MAGA and you're going to freak out about election interference, but stick around. Because whether you believe the 2024 election was fucked with or not, what we do know is it could have been. And what we do know is that we haven't fixed those problems, and so the next election can also be fucked with. That has been proven. It is beyond dispute that it can happen. Missed the Brie song. Oh, maybe we were talking about that Brie. Oh, if you were talking about, I'm so sorry. Let me take that back. When you guys said the Brie text, I thought you were talking about the catfish Brie. You're talking about other Brie. I miss those two, and I love her. That Brie. I'm so sorry. If that Brie is here, I'm sorry. I did not mean that. It was spelled like the message came through, and it was spelled like the catfisher, not BRI. So I apologize for that. Lawsuits are coming. There we go. All right. Election machinery cannot connect to the internet during vote tabulation, making interference impossible. That is the myth. The reality is internet connection during tabulation is not necessary to interfere with election results. Election machinery connects through the internet to the internet through other pathways at different stages in the process, providing opportunities for systems to be compromised. Hackable cellular modems in election machinery and firmware or software installed or updated on this equipment can all be potential points of attacks. The process of programming machines for each election creates another opening for malware to hitch a ride via externally programmed memory cards. The need to connect vulnerable election management systems, including voter registration databases and election night reporting systems, to internal cellular networks creates exploitable internet-facing points of attack even when core systems are believed to be isolated. Importantly, even air-gap systems do not fully protect against these vulnerabilities. Other points of attack, like supply chain attacks, i.e. compromising a private election equipment company or vendor, and even malware on a thumb drive used for routine software updates do not require internet access at all. It's just important to remember, our elections can be hacked. They can. You don't have to believe it happened in 2024. I think the evidence is pretty solid that some shit happened in 2024. I'm not going to make a definitive statement, but could I lay out a scenario that could have happened and is easy to accomplish? Absolutely. It does not take much in the swing states for Elon Musk to find a person in each of these precincts to give them access to vote tabulators so they can backdoor and change votes. We already know that they did this. This is literally what happened with Tina Peters. And I think that the Tina Peters story does not get enough attention. What happened with Tina Peters is she took somebody who was unauthorized and let them in and gave them access to a voting machine. Now, I don't know what that was for. They claim it was to do an audit, whatever. But all it takes is one Tina Peters to give somebody unfettered access to these vote tabulators, and boom, we've got a backdoor. Boom, we can change votes. Boom, we can swing elections. It really is that simple. And we know that there are Republicans willing to do this. If you know about Maricopa County, when they allowed the cyber ninjas in and they got all the equipment back, they found that there were back doors that had been installed into all of their routers and all of the equipment. And I spoke to the Maricopa County recorder who said we had to replace every piece of equipment, including every router in Maricopa County, including in jails, including in prisons, including in libraries, including in public schools, including in City Hall. Because the back door was installed, or it came back with the back door, we had to get all new equipment. And what did the cyber ninjas do? They came back and said, hey, we need to do that audit again. Republicans ran 5 audits in Maricopa County. 5. All 5 audits confirmed the exact same thing. Joe Biden won. All 5. Why did they need to keep doing these audits? It's possible. And we need to be aware of that. And the reason that we need to be aware of it is because I wish we could create enough momentum that people were doing audits now on the 2024 election and installing mechanisms to prevent this from happening. But that's not going to happen. So what we do need instead is an educated voting bloc who, if you start seeing some fuckery, Georgia's going to be a great example. Jon Ossoff is going to win in Georgia. And he's going to win big. And he's going to win big because Georgia's a purple state and they have a ton of Republicans who really don't like Donald Trump. And Jon Ossoff is a moderate. If we see on election day, and as they call the election, that Jon Ossoff loses in Georgia, we need enough people to be like, hold up. Let's go back and let's audit. And let's force an audit. The thing about all of this is that an audit actually would catch all of this. If what people have presented in the 2024 election is true, that it was stolen, audits would have proven that it was stolen. And we have done 0 audits. I believe that we have to have that pressure and that the audits need to be done. And I hope that Democrats, no matter what happens in the midterms, I hope they use their newfound power to do audits. I think I would be calling my state senators, my state representatives every single day and demanding that my state do audits on the 2024 election and that they secure these backdoors. Myth number 2, I'm running out of time here, so I'll try and cruise through it. Machines used to cast and count votes cannot be hacked or compromised. The reality is any computer can be hacked, even ones that are not connected to the internet. For example, malware on a thumb drive used for routine software updates and other types of supply chain attacks, like compromising the vendor, do not require internet access. Supply chain attacks pose a significant risk because just 2 companies, Election Systems and Software, or ES&S, and Liberty, which is formerly Dominion, own and operate around 70% of machines. Now, fuck off TikTok for flagging this for civil engagement. TikTok, you may take me down, but before you do, I just want to point out that all of this is verifiable. All of it. Not one thing we are mentioning today is hyperbole. Not one thing we're saying is a claim. We're just pointing out the truth that these have been proven. It's proven that if you got a corrupt people involved, you could manufacture the results you want out of an election. The truth is they own and operate 70% of the machines used to cast and count votes in the U.S. As stated in expert testimony to Congress, attackers could target one or more of these companies and spread malicious code to election equipment that serves millions of voters. Now, ES&S and Liberty, which is formerly Dominion, have both, in the last couple years, undergone ownership changes. And the people who bought those companies are Trump loyalists, election-denying Trump loyalists. So there's smoke. They should, if they were Biden loyalists, we'd be saying the same thing, like, you don't want that. Whether you like Trump or not, this can't be good. Additionally, firmware or software installed or updated on election machines can also be sources of malware. Many of these vote machines also have modems, which connect to cellular networks and are vulnerable to attacks. Externally programmed memory cards used to update the machines for each election provide additional opportunities for the infiltration of malware. Importantly, even air-gapped systems isolating a computer or network from unsecured networks do not fully protect against any of these sources of vulnerability. The risk of attack is higher for machinery that has been previously compromised, as has happened since 2020 with software tabulators and servers for both major brands. Myth 3, election machinery being certified by state or federal officials means it's completely secure. That's nonsense. Federally, the election machinery certification process is voluntary. Machine manufacturers could choose to submit their machines to independent testing labs for certification. This is approved by the Federal Election Assistance Commission with input from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. These machines are evaluated against a rule book, voluntary voting system guidelines. The lab would then send a recommendation to the EAC, which has recently been banded by the Trump administration for God knows why. I don't know why we would get rid of the Election Assistance Commission. After certification, oversight relies mainly on manufacturers self-reporting. So you've got two companies that make up 70% of the machines. They're both owned by Trump loyalists. Their certification process is voluntary. And if their systems don't pass the independent testing, it is up to them to report that to you. Voter ID and all your problems are gone. No, Maurice, you don't understand what's happening. Let me give you an example. Maurice, let's say that you go in and you vote for Donald Trump in Georgia. First of all, he's not on the ballot, so you fucking idiot. But second of all, they can go in and change your vote, whether you have voter ID or not. Voter ID literally doesn't fix any of these problems. You could have everybody do a retina scan in order to vote with a blood sample. This is changing votes after they've been received. So incorrect. Thank you for playing the game. Myth 4, if malicious actors tried to attack our election infrastructure, we'd know about it. Nope. Sure wouldn't. It can take years after an attack on election infrastructure for its impact to become publicly known, if it ever becomes known at all. During the 2016 election, hacking of election machinery posed a real evidence-backed threat. The FBI and NSA acknowledged foreign interference from Russia specifically as a serious danger, pointing to the DNC breach and attacks on voter registration databases in Illinois and Arizona. A bipartisan U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee, which was run by Marco Rubio, was created to look into and report on this threat. However, the findings from this committee were not made public until 3 years later in 2019. This means that for 3 years, the public was not made aware of the scale and seriousness of the attack. Just a reminder that Marco Rubio admitted that Russia interfered in our election and that our elections were vulnerable, and now he pretends that he didn't. Myth 5, election equipment and election management systems are neutral tools and are not associated with partisan interests. We basically covered that, like both Liberty and ES&S are bought by Republicans. In 2025, Dominion was bought by a former Republican election official, Scott Leinendecker, and rebranded as Liberty Vote. No question who owns that. Leinendecker also owns No Inc., the commercial electronic poll books used to verify voter eligibility at check-in and sync turnout for 36 million votes across 29 different states. ES&S also has a history of linkages to the Republican causes and candidates going back to 2004 at least, including campaign donations, lobbyists to Senator Mitch McConnell in the months before he blocked 2 election security bills that would have imposed new cybersecurity regulations. Myth 6, the private election equipment and tech companies are well vetted by the relevant government agencies. Obviously, that's not. Like, we've just explained that. First of all, EAC is disbanded. Second of all, all their testing is voluntary. And third of all, if they don't pass the testing, they get to choose whether or not they disclose that. Myth 7, election machinery is air-gapped, making interference impossible. Again, that just means it's not connected to the network physically. So it isolates the computer or network from other networks. While air-gap systems are generally considered safer than non-air-gap systems, they are not immune to breaches. At least 17 high-profile examples of breaches to air-gap systems have been the subject of news coverages since 2010, including on voting systems, power grids, and systems operating nuclear centrifuges. It can't happen here is myth number 8. U.S. elections are the most safe and secure in the world. In 2022, the quality of the U.S. election infrastructure was ranked last among liberal democracies in the world by global election integrity watchdogs. Again, it's not a voter ID problem. It's election security. The voter ID, nothing in the SAVE Act actually addresses any of this stuff. The SAVE Act is all about determining who can vote and who cannot vote and where to disenfranchise people. Because most U.S. votes are counted and casted by machine, transparency is lacking at one of the most critical stages, which is verifying the accuracy of the vote count. In many countries like Canada, the UK, Mexico, and Germany, the verification process includes independent or multi-party observers physically watching the ballots being counted. A decision by the German Supreme Court deemed voting computers unconstitutional because voters must be able to understand, without technical expertise, whether their votes are cast and counted accurately. Myth 9, the U.S. election system is too decentralized for our elections to be manipulated. That's an easy one, right? The decentralization actually allows access on a more partisan level. It's far more easy to corrupt local governments than it is
federal governments. One common line we hear about U.S. elections is that since elections are administered across roughly 8,000 separate local jurisdictions, the sheer decentralization of U.S. elections acts as a natural firewall. However, that's thin protection when a handful of breaches in a few swing state counties could change a national election outcome. Attackers can simply target the most vulnerable areas. Myth 10, it would take a widespread effort involving a lot of people to manipulate elections, so there would be plenty of evidence it occurred. Not true. Again, somebody with access to the machines, which requires a single person going in and either installing something through the USB drive or malware that allows you to access that machine, can be done. It could take a handful of people in a handful of counties, and you could swing an election. Myth 12, if investigators couldn't prove that election interference changed the outcome of an election, that means it's been proven that the interference didn't affect anything. Obviously, that's not true, right? We don't have to get into that. Like, just because you can't prove that an election interference changed the outcome doesn't mean that it's been proven that it didn't affect anything, obviously, right? Since voter fraud is very rare in the United States, this means that other forms of election manipulation are also highly unlikely. The reality is voter fraud and election manipulation are not the same thing. Voter fraud refers to individuals casting votes illegally, such as impersonation, double voting, or ineligible voting. That is a largely very small problem. And that is the problem that Republicans are trying to convince you is the most important one to address. To me, it seems like a little bit of a magic trick. Kind of looks like an illusion. Look over here. Look at voter fraud. Look at people casting votes illegally or double voting or impersonating. That would require massive, massive coordination and fraud on a huge scale that would leave way too many witnesses. For voter fraud to influence an election, it would require thousands of individual voters to act in coordination, each risking a chance of being caught. I wouldn't even say thousands. I'm hundreds of thousands. Election manipulation works differently. Cyber attacks, digital tampering, or machine hacking can be pulled off by a small group or even a single actor with the skills to compromise the system and leave little trace. Voter fraud and election manipulation are different types of attacks with different methods, actors, points of vulnerability, and assumed risk. This is why I am frustrated with Republicans consistently lying to you about the SAVE Act and voter ID. There are vulnerabilities in our elections. And those vulnerabilities are very easy to identify. And what none of those vulnerabilities actually are people who are undocumented that are voting, people voting twice, people using their dog to vote. These things are few and far between, and the amount of coordination it would take to pull that off is borderline impossible without us finding out. However, you could have a handful of people change an election and virtually nobody would know. In this case, hypothetically, you could have had Elon Musk swing the election without Donald Trump or virtually anybody in their cabinet even knowing what he did. Which, by the way, is something I believe did happen. And that's just a personal belief. And I think most people don't know, and I don't think Elon explained it to most people, but he's dropped enough hints to his girlfriend and to others, and Donald Trump consistently talking about how he knows those machines so well. What other reason would Donald Trump have to bring up the machines? I have no idea. But we knew that Orange knew what Muskie was doing. I don't know. Trump's pretty dumb. I think we might be giving him too much credit. All right, let me check messages one more time. I went over just a little bit. I got to go pick up my daughter from school. Let me double check and make sure I got all those. Dirty Dude said, why does nobody speak on the trademarks given to Ivanka on voting machines from China in 2016? I'm gonna be honest, Dirty Dude. I think we might have talked about that before, but I don't remember what they are. Will you send it to me? Maybe just not enough people know. I mean, I can look it up. It was Ivanka? Did we get them from China? This sounds like bullshit to me, but let's see. China granted Ivanka Trump Marks LLC trademark protection that include the product category voting machines. The application was filed in 2016. The Chinese authorities gave provisional approval for 16 marks in 2018. The registration process later finalized absent objections. That does not mean Ivanka Trump obtained voting machines, manufactured them, owned. Okay, so we got to see if she's obtained some. I'm not sure. I don't know much about that story. I need to look more into that. SAVE Act would secure all of this? No, it wouldn't. Pro TV. SAVE Act doesn't talk about the machines at all. There's nothing in the SAVE Act that talks about securing the vulnerabilities in the machines. Why do you guys just say stuff? Why did you say that? Honest to God, why did you say that?
You could have everybody's identity guaranteed. You could have 100% assurity that everybody who voted in the election was legal to vote, and you could change the votes. That was a silly thing that you just said. If you don't have to show any ID, and go to Arsler. No, but that's the thing. Even if you had to show ID, you could still flip these votes. This honestly should not be this hard to understand. All right. Jen, did I miss any other ones? I don't think so.
Nope, that's all of them. And more.
Okay. Anything from you?
Other than we're about $70 short still of the gift goal. So if anyone wants to round that out, I wouldn't complain. But yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Perfect. All right, everybody. We will see you tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here, wherever you're watching today. We stayed up on TikTok, which is that's a gift. And also, what an accomplishment. We talked about the elections, and TikTok didn't even take us down yet. Fingers crossed. Until I see you guys tomorrow, I hope that you get outside and touch grass. If you can't touch grass, smoke grass. If you can't smoke grass or touch grass, best of luck to you. I don't know what you're going to do. If you can't do those things, perhaps might I recommend reaching down, finding your bootstraps, and pulling yourself up by those bootstraps, and then taking those boots and putting them on the ground. Before you do, though, look in the mirror. Say something nice to yourself. It's important. Self-talk's super important. Think about that. Think about the way that you think about yourself, the way that you talk to yourself. And would you allow somebody to talk to your friends the way that you talk to yourself? It's a good question to constantly ask yourself. Drink water, be hydrated, take the water with you. And until I see you guys again tomorrow morning, bright and early, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.